TikTok time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the planet. It's your friendly neighborhood philosopher here, D Wood. With me, we've got ChristianGadlfy. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's everybody?
You look like you're in a basement.
I'm in a Mossad prison. They told me that they were going to lock me up until I did a live stream with David Wood. I had to come out and support Israel. It's the only way I could be released. So,
Good. Always do what Mossad tells you. That is the life lesson. We've also got Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Doing well, David. Doing very well.
Chris, things are things are going pretty well with the Islamic dilemma here in the U.S. And on pretty much every other topic that we think of. How are things going over in the UK? Are you guys? Is everyone feeling it there in the UK too?
Oh yes. There's a lot of panic about the Islamic dilemma. There's a lot of worry about it. We know that a lot of Muslims are being asked to give responses to the Islamic dilemma by people like Fareed or Jake or our favorite Daniel Akikachu, and they're really struggling. They're really struggling, and it shows. So it's not just like in America things are changing; it's international, and particularly in the UK.
Here's what's amazing to me. Like we can decide, like 7 or 8 months ago, we can decide something. We can decide, hey, we're going to make this the year of the Islamic dilemma. We're going to make everyone know this. There's only a certain amount of that that's actually like under our control, namely what we're doing. Other than that, for it to really take off, other people have to be on board, right? Other people have to start picking up on it, learning it, and sharing it, and so on. Muslims have to start reacting to it. And Muslim Dawah guys will try to avoid anything that they don't want their people to hear. In other words, if you're bringing up an argument, they'll try to avoid it because they don't want to respond to it because that's going to let more people know that there's this problem here. So what you need is Muslims flipping out about something and going to their Dawah guys and demanding responses from their Dawah guys. And then you end up getting debates. Then they end up in a panic mode and then they start attacking each other. And so notice a ton of that is actually not under our control. That's under other people's control. So when you're sitting back here saying, hey, this is going to be the year of the Islamic dilemma, everyone's going to understand it. All the Muslims are going to be freaking out about it and so on. It's like everyone else has to kind of play along. And they are. That's what's amazing, right? Because you say you're going to do it, but it depends on other people to get it go to help get it going, and you can't say definitively that they're actually going to help you get this done, and yet they do.
We can tell this as well because when we look at like the YouTube algorithm and how this is being shared on TikTok and other places, we see that it gets traction. And I think that that's not just because Christians are watching this, but because people from other faiths as well, including Muslims, are watching these videos about the Islamic dilemma, and then they're going to their favorite da'is and they're asking them to make videos in response to it. So in effect, we're doing incredibly well with the algorithm as well. So it's amazing.
So guys, this is everyone watching. This is how you do it. Just learn this over a period of many years, because if you go back 20 years, Muslims didn't like debating Muslim topics. They only wanted to debate: is Jesus God? Is the Trinity true? Is the Bible reliable? Did Jesus die on the cross? Did he rise from the dead? They only wanted to debate Christian topics. They didn't want to debate Muslim topics because they didn't want anyone bringing up any problems. And just so everyone knows, back then, if you go back a little before then, it was very common if you set up a debate between a Christian and a Muslim, they would only agree to a Christian topic, and they would say before the debate, if anyone criticizes Muhammad or the Quran at any point in this debate, it's over, and all the Muslims are walking out. So they made sure that no criticism of Islam is going to take place and so on. So like, how do you get through that? Anyway, we find out over the years with when they say things, when they reject Muhammad's relationship with Aisha and say we're lying, when they say the Quran's been perfectly preserved, and when we respond, they say we're lying and so on. You just have to get the message to Christians and other non-Muslims, and they have to start using it. They have to start using the information with their Muslim friends. thus sending their Muslim friends into panic mode because they've never heard this before. They don't know anything about this. So they have no answers. So now they have to try and find answers. And who do they go to? They go to their Dawah guys. They start pestering their Dawah guys. Then their Dawah guys start posting responses. And then we say, hey, why don't we debate it? And that's how you do it. You couldn't go directly to them to debate it because there's no way they would debate it. They don't want people to know about it. So you have to go about it in an indirect route. What's amazing is they fall for it 100% of the time. And I just laid out the entire system right there, and they will still fall for it 100% of the time. Wow. Hey, I hear Giant DOC there. How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
You know what? We actually found about 3 or 4 people recently who solved the Islamic dilemma.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of praise reports, Muslims becoming Christians because the Lord's been using the Islamic dilemma for their personal testimonies. And some of these guys, you can actually see it happening in real time. Like, we do a stream with David and Avery, and you hear the conversation with the guy while he's a Muslim. We talk about the Islamic dilemma. We talk about some questions he has about the Bible. A couple months later, he follows up, and he's like, hey, you remember me? And he's like, I'm a Christian now. And so that we've heard multiple others telling us the same thing as well. And we are sure to write down these people's names to pray for them. In fact, we have a whole list of people that we're praying
This
for.
week and over the last couple of weeks, Brother Miled, Sister Miriam, Sister Jane. That's how you solve the Islamic dilemma.
That's how you do it.
That is, and it's amazing because they're just finding out about it. I mean, the people are calling in and stuff. They're hearing about this. I mean, they may have heard the Quran confirms the Bible and so on, but once you start taking them through the verses, they think they're these easy responses because their Dawah guys have told them, oh, no, this is so easy. Anyone can respond. It's a joke. It's so stupid. It's such a dumb argument. And then they think they've got some simple response to it. I'll just say Surah 2, verse 79, and that will be it. And what happens? We actually go to the passage, we go to the context, we go to commentaries, we go to hadiths, and they find out, this is actually a serious, serious problem. But this is all new. This is all new. People are just finding out about it. So exciting, exciting, exciting times. All right, so this is Dawah Wars Islamic Dilemma Edition. I haven't been like going around and checking out the stuff. We've got videos here. Apart from the shorter clip of Daniel Hokikachu. So I watched like a 2-minute clip that a couple people sent me. But I saw the shorter clip, but we're going to look at a longer clip. But Fareed's videos, I don't know, guys. I didn't watch them when Fareed sent them to Daniel. But we've responded to other videos. We've responded to videos by Fareed in the past. So have we actually have I seen these in the past?
Yeah, actually, one of those videos is a response to us, yourself and Chris. It was a stream that we all did together where he issued a challenge for the Christian apologists to find one classical Muslim scholar who believes that the Bible is unaltered, uncorrupted, etc.
And we found a bunch.
And so we found a bunch, and then the one he responded to was, the one that it comes up in the video, which is a really bad response, but not even according to us, according to Daniel. Daniel thinks it's a bad response. So yeah, you're familiar with the content of what it is. One of them was a response to us. I don't really remember the other one though.
All right. So this may not.
Let me give my understanding of the chronology of the beef, and then people correct me if I have it wrong, and then that'll help the viewers understand what's happening. So Daniel did this debate. And then Fareed came out and said, you got caught with your pants down. Basically, you didn't do well.
Hey, let's keep this PG.
Then in response, Daniel attacked 2 videos.
Daniel was highly offended by that language.
Yeah.
Then in response, Daniel attacked 2 videos that Fareed made that are a year old. And so I don't even think Fareed articulated clearly what it was that was wrong with Daniel. He just said, you got caught with your pants down. But the only Islamic dilemma videos that Daniel could find to attack were those 2, I'm guessing.
And let me go ahead and pull up that tweet. That's the only tweet because I had to get it to find the videos that we're going to be responding to. But I actually checked out that tweet. So this is from Fareed, and Fareed Says David Wood argues that the Prophet, peace be upon him, and Ibn Abbas affirm the Bible. Actually, what I argued, Fareed, was, yes, your Prophet affirmed the Bible. That's directly out of the Hadith, but he's also the one supposedly revealing the Quran, which definitely affirms the Bible. Daniel brought up Ibn Abbas. I pointed out, at the end of the day, I really don't care if Ibn Abbas says the Bible is corrupted. If he said it and it was clear, I wouldn't care. My response would be, where does Allah say it? If Allah doesn't say it and Ibn Abbas says it, and you go with Ibn Abbas, you're worshiping Ibn Abbas according to your own prophet. And I would take it as you being condemned by Surah 2, verse 79, your guys' favorite verse. Anyway, why? You'd be taking something that someone wrote and treating it as the word of Allah, and you would be condemned by Surah 2, verse 79. So I really wouldn't care what Ibn Abbas says. However, we have some reports that conflict with what you guys say about Ibn Abbas, and so that's what I pointed out during the debate. And then he says, these two videos from my playlist refute both attributes. Refute is a strong word, Fareed. Refute is a strong word. Let's say in these two videos, let's say something we can all agree on. In these two videos from my playlist, I say words in response to some of the issues. I say words in response to some of the issues. Just say that, and then we could agree. Refute, doesn't mean what I think you think it means. Muslims should familiarize themselves with responses to avoid getting caught with their pants down during a debate.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think Daniel was wearing pants. I think he was wearing a dress, but I don't know. He might have had pants on under that.
Let's hope he had pants underneath. Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
So pants means something different in British English. So the Chris is thinking of underwear when you say pants.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. For us, pants means like jeans or something like that. So,
yeah.
Pants. So that's like underpants. So you got pants and underpants, but pants. Okay. All right. But yeah. So this is Fareed warning Daniel not to get caught with his pants down like Muhammad on the night of Al-Zut. All right. Now we're good. Now we know.
Nice.
Okay.
So that has been retweeted by a number of people, including some Muslim Dawagandists, some people who are, popular for doxing, I'll say, some of those people as well. But they're very big. Very big in the Dawah world. And then
Hang on. Is this the same Ijaz who's also a racist and refers to other people of other races as racial epithets?
That's the same one.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So he's retweeting it. And by the way, that's Daniel's former debate partner on Fresh and Fit. So, but then again, I don't know if that's saying much because Jake was also his former debate partner too. So
that didn't go well.
So Fareed has been, nonstop, and he knows that we're using his content against Daniel, and so he put out like one thing where he said something negative about you in the debate, but everything else was about Daniel, how bad Daniel did. And Jake is actually retweeting some of that stuff as well. So Jake is in on it. All these Dawah guys are basically all in agreement that Daniel did a terrible job in the debate. So, yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to point out that's interesting because where was I? I don't remember which channel I was on the other day. It's all been a blur. My brain was fried. But I think it was with God Logic. Anyway, was live a couple of days ago, and Fareed,
channel.
Fareed came up, and I offered the offer of all offers. Here's how you should have responded. And then there are even people here and there in various comment sections going, why are you baiting Daniel, not Fareed? Fareed's the one who really knows. Like, what kind of fantasy land do you live in? So I offered Fareed the deal of all deals. I said, if you think you can do better, we will debate. I will debate the exact same topic with you, and I will use the exact same opening statement. I have to change the intro because it's a different person. But apart from that, I will use the exact same opening statement. You cannot possibly get caught off guard with everything. You can design your entire opening statement as a response, a prepared response to my opening statement. That is like as generous as someone can possibly be. So just wanted to point that out. that is an open offer to Fareed. And for all you Fareed fans out there, if he doesn't accept that, my goodness, how are you not getting this? How are you not getting the fact that they're just terrified?
And that's what Daniel said to him. He said, "Why don't you man up?" In
he used a little bit more flavorful language,
in very
Good
more
point.
colorful language, and debate yourself.
Why don't you gird up your loins and face him like a man? Sorry.
basically
Yeah, whatever
what
you
he
think,
said.
at least Daniel's going
Get
after
up
and
your backbone.
debating.
Sorry.
Yeah, he needs to gird up his backbone.
Get up his backbone.
and Islamic, biology.
Pull up your pants.
Pull up your
Oh man. All right. So, anything else before we start jumping into some of this?
Yeah. So you know that meme where you have like the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other?
I think
That's
it's
basically
three.
what's. Oh
There's
no!
three,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
There's variations. There's one with two, one with three. But that's what I want you to think about when you have Fareed and Daniel. Fareed's pointing at your argument is bad. The other one, Daniel's saying, no, your argument is bad. And it's,
Oh yeah. You got to make one of those then.
We got them. We got one.
I made one. It's on X if you want to. I don't know. I can pull it up, but it's basically basically what's going on. It's exactly what is going on, and Daniel is accusing Fareed's responses of being bad, and I'm kind of saying like, guys, you're both right. It's okay.
You're both bad.
You're both right. You're both bad, and so it's not a matter of like like siding with one or the other. It's like we're agreeing with you both here. You guys are both right that you're both bad. And it's kind of like this. It's kind of like when I'm observing the situation, what I notice is
From observing the situation. I treat women like prostitutes. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Daniel took it best.
Daniel took it. I mean, Daniel actually debated, so he took it best. But what I noticed is like it's like imagine like two people who are able to recognize something bad in the other person, but they can't recognize that same thing in themselves. So like Daniel thinks he has these amazing responses to the Islamic dilemma, but other Muslims are recognizing no, your responses are bad. And then Fareed thinks he has these amazing responses, but then Daniel and other Muslims are recognizing it's bad. It's like you guys are able to recognize it in each other, but you have like this blind spot when it comes to yourself. So we're just here kind of like opening their eyes and filling the gaps and like, hey guys, you're all really bad at this.
I was actually thinking the same thing when I saw, because again, the only thing I saw was the short 2-minute clip of Daniel where he was making fun of Fareed's response to the hadith in Sunan Abu Dawud, and he was saying, well, you're saying that this scholar says it's good, and this other scholar says this, and you think that's a good response. And I'm like, Daniel's correct. Daniel's absolutely correct. But the guys he's responding to are looking at his responses and going, your responses suck. So they're destroying they're all, no matter what response they give, we can find other Muslims who are saying that's a terrible response.
Exactly.
So have you guys seen, there's a guy called Yemeni who's a Muslim apologist. And this is like before the debate a few months ago, but it kind of showed me just how much like at war these guys are.
Wait, isn't that the guy who threatened you?
Yeah, not me. He didn't threaten me. He threatened to unalive. Yeah. People at Speaker's Corner. He went online. People said nasty things about his prophet. He got upset and said, okay, I'm going to actually go and do something. And this is a real threat. People even told the police about this, and it's still there. The live stream is still there to this day. Not even like people reported it. I reported it, but there were people who went out and said, actually, that's a credible threat. But nothing happened to him. It's still there. But anyway, he made a live stream in which and I watched the whole thing because it was fascinating. He's presenting the case that you cannot say there is any wahi or any revelation in the previous scriptures in the biblical text from an Islamic point of view. That's and this is like the before you had Dean Responds and others, that's kind of what everyone sort of said. Oh, it's all been corrupted. You can't take any of it for granted. Although they're being consistent with that view, I would argue. But that was what they would say. But now you've got this other group of da'is who's like, actually, that's a terrible response. We can't keep saying that. That doesn't work. Obviously, the Quran says there's true wahi revelations in our scriptures, and they're pointing it out, but they're trying to then be like, okay, but don't think too much into this. And so now you've got these two groups that are like saying, what are you guys doing? You know, some of them are even saying, look, you're kafir. You've left Islam because you're saying there's revelation to be found in the Bible. And it's amazing to watch this. I'm like, wow, these guys are tearing each other apart because they can't even come together on a solution anymore. There's no consensus now. There's different factions that give different answers depending on who you ask, which is amazing. I really, really like this. I think this is really interesting. So, yeah.
So they are actually ending up with some Dawah wars. Go ahead, Christian.
You have to attack the definition of Injil and Torah, or you have to attack the definition of confirm. And so that's your tension because, you know, Quran confirms.
That's a good way of summarizing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you'll have one class of Muslims attacking confirm and one attacking Injil and Torah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we're going to watch the first video now. And this is a response to, I'll just go ahead and put the hadith on the screen real quick. So this is a hadith, Sunan Abu Dawud 4449. Narrated Abdullah ibn Umar, a group of Jews came and invited the Messenger of Allah to Kuf, so he visited them in their school. They said, Abul Qasim, one of our men has committed fornication with a woman, so pronounce judgment upon them. They placed a cushion for the Messenger of Allah, who sat on it and said, bring me the Torah. It was then brought. He then withdrew the cushion from beneath him and placed the Torah on it, saying, I believed in thee and in him who revealed thee. He then said, bring me one who is learned among you. Then a young man was brought. The transmitter then mentioned the rest of the tradition of stoning, similar to the one transmitted by Malik from Nafi. So Muhammad is actually is not talking about some long-lost copy of the Torah or some book that has long been corrupted. He said, bring me the Torah, i.e. the Torah that you have right now. It was then brought. He puts it on this judgment cushion and says, I believed in thee and in him who revealed thee. So he believes in this book the same way he believes in Allah. And that is hard to reconcile if that is a corrupt book that he says he believes in. So is that a corrupt God he believes in? Anyway, so that's the hadith. I'm about to get Fareed's response. We all ready?
Yep.
Let's see what Fareed's got for us. Gonna be powerful. Gonna be powerful. Hey, Daniel, here's how you should have responded, according to Fareed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this video, I'm going to be going through a hadith that's often quoted by the popular critics of...
By the way, guys, I'll be stopping it in various places, but if there's anything you see and you want me to hit pause or something, just let me know. So shout pause! Or give a signal like caw, something like that.
Zoot, zoot, something like that.
Oh yeah, just yell zoot. That'll be the new signal. Anytime you want the video to stop, just go zoot, zoot, zoot.
And it's something that comes up within the Islamic dilemma discussion. And I've made a couple of videos about this topic in the past, but I've never addressed this hadith specifically. So what is the hadith that I'm referring to, and how is it used?
Oh, fire intro. It's his fire intro to signify all of Dawah going down in flames.
Oh, I thought it was about the burning of the Qurans, but fair enough.
That too. It's all going down in flames. Dumpster fire. We've already read from Sunan Abu Dawud where we have this. So let's go ahead and check out the passage from Sunan Abu Dawud again. So the historical. Where the heck was that? Oh, is that? I think that's Al-Fadi's place. I think that's Al-Fadi's show. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is probably Al-Fadi's show. We have this. So let's go ahead and check out the passage from Sunan Abu Dawud again. So the historical background here is that the Jews came to Muhammad to settle a dispute. Muhammad was a political leader in Medina, and the Jews came to Muhammad to settle a dispute. So they come to Muhammad, and there was the custom there was the judge would sit on a judgment cushion to signify that he's the judge. So they set out a cushion for the Messenger of Allah, and he sat on it. Then he said, bring me the Torah. it was brought, and he took the cushion from beneath him and placed the Torah on it and said, I believe in you and in the one who revealed you. So notice, this is this is not Muhammad saying, hey, I'm affirming the inspiration of some original Torah that is now lost to us. He tells the Jews, bring me the Torah that you have. So this is the Torah that existed in 7th century Arabia.
So yes, there is a narration in Sunan Nabi Dawood in which the Prophet, peace be upon him, makes a judgment upon a Jewish man and woman and rules upon them with what is found within the Torah. Now, in this hadith...
Well, we're all in agreement. We can all pack it up and go home.
In Sunan Nabi Dawood, the report...
What's that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, you wonder like if his viewers ever watching it go, I feel like David's making better points than Fareed is. Like, it's just funny that he shows your whole argument. You know,
Daniel
and then
thought
he'll go
that.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
Daniel
bold
thought
move.
that. Daniel thought that David made a better point than Fareed. He just said why you granting David's reading of it. So he actually said no. David understands it better than you, like it's authentic, but why would you grant his reading of it? Like, you know, there's another way to understand it apparently, but Daniel failed to provide that.
You know what? Daniel Hakikachu is right. Fareed's response sucks. Anyway.
It's the only time he was right.
Yeah, as far as Fareed's response, I kind of only know it just from Daniel's clip where he's making fun of him for saying, "Oh, there's a scholar who says that this can't be trusted" or something like that. So we'll see here.
Includes an edition in which the Prophet, peace be upon him, says, I believe in you and he who revealed you. He's saying this to the Torah after placing it upon a cushion.
Good point.
The specific report is graded as Hasan, meaning that it's a mid-tier hadith by Al-Albani. However, Sheikh Shu'aib al-Arnaout grades it as a weak hadith. So what do we do in this situation when different scholars disagree with each other?
We pick the one that we like best and the one that is saying what we want, because that's how we do it with Allah, and that's how we do it with a hadith, and that's how we do it with our commentaries. Welcome to Islam.
But by the way, just to expand on that a little bit, like the list of people who accept it, he makes it sound like Al-Albani is just on his own, like he's the only hadith scholar or he's the only scholar of Islam.
By the way, isn't he one of the goats, just for everyone who doesn't recognize these names?
Yeah, exactly.
He's the goat, and he's a bigger goat than Arnaout because he's more well known.
Yeah, he's a way more well known and way more senior scholar for Muslims. But obviously, you have of course Abu Dawood himself. He thought that it was authentic. You have another hadith scholar, Abdul Haq al-Ishbili. He's another one. You have another one, Ibn Hajar said that it's Hassan. You have Sheikh bin Baz. He said that it's Jayyid, which means good, and
Al-Baqai.
Al-Baqai as well. He said that it's Hassan as well.
Yeah.
Now,
hang on. I just want to point out as well. I mean, I've seen this in tons of commentaries, so I don't know.
That's what I was just going to say.
I don't know if there's something before the cut. Like I think Ibn Kathir quotes this in I think Surah 5 verse 41 is I think where he quotes this to set up the stage for the verses that follow and so on. But I don't know. I don't know if like right before that in Ibn Kathir he said, "Oh, by the way, this thing's untrustworthy," but even if it weren't or something like that.
He doesn't.
So just the same thought that you just had, that's exactly the next group of scholars. You have Ibn Taymiyyah who does that. You have Ibn Kathir and you have Ibn al-Qayyim as well. All three of them cite it without refuting it. Like they don't say, "Oh, by the way, this is a weak." None of them say that. They cite it and just leave it as it is. And
which means they believe it.
Yeah. So a lot of times, like we mentioned, like Abu Dawood, for example, he has like a rule where he says if I like say something in my hadith and I don't comment on it, like basically my silence means that I think that it's authentic. So I'm not saying this rule for consent. Yeah, silence is consent. Yeah. So I'm not saying this a rule for all Muslim scholars, but usually if they think it's weak, they note it or something. So we just listed about 9. I'm just counting them up. 9 of them who say that it's either authentic or they don't comment on it at all, which gives you the assumption that they think that it's authentic, versus one scholar that Fareed could dig up in the trash bin.
So hang
And
on.
Daniel notes in his response to this too. He's like, you could grant that this is weak, and that doesn't solve the Islamic dilemma. It's just this one particular. Like he mocks
Yeah,
it. He's like,
this is supporting evidence.
Yeah, he's like, this doesn't solve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So but this is, for everyone who's watching, this is a perfect example, and you need to observe this happening over and over again to really, because if we were sitting there saying, hey, there's this hadith, and they're like, but this hadith scholar says it's not authentic or it's weak or something like this, and we say, but this hadith scholar, you might not know what's going on, and so on. There is like massive cherry picking in Islam. Again, they do it with the Quran. They'll cherry pick the verse that is closest to the meaning they want, and then they'll insert the meaning they want into there, and then they'll throw out every other Quran verse that tells them they're lying. They'll do that with the hadiths. They'll do that with their commentaries. They'll do that with everything. So you take a hadith like this, and it's, here's a scholar who says it's weak. Okay, Abu Dawood, one of your greatest hadith collectors, he didn't think it was weak. Albani, the goat of hadith scholars, he didn't think it was weak. And you go down the list, they already pointed out, Ibn Kathir, Ibn Taymiyyah, the legends of tafsir, they're quoting this as authentic. And what do? We don't like it. Let's look around for someone who says it's weak, and we'll just go with that. And that is absolutely like a pathetic methodology. But it's what you do. Why? Because you have to. Otherwise, you're stuck with the Islamic dilemma. So this is you trying to get out of it, and it's pathetic.
But I don't even know why this is an issue. It's in the Quran. Surah 2, verse 41, yep. Allah is saying to children of Israel, I confirm what is with you.
Right.
Which is the Torah.
Yep.
What is with you, present tense. So you want to deny that Muhammad put it on the cushion to say that the Torah wasn't good at the time? The Quran says it was. So why are we even having this discussion?
And that's part of what Daniel says in response to this too. Like Christian had mentioned, that he says, like, look, even if you get rid of it, it doesn't destroy the Islamic dilemma. He says it in a more sarcastic way, but he's like, that doesn't destroy the Islamic dilemma. That's what he's communicating. I just want to say one more thing about Al-Albani, because one of the things that this other hadith scholar notes is, like, there's one person in the chain that he considers to be weak. So because he considers him to be weak, he considers this particular wording to be, discredited or inauthentic or weak. Yeah, it's like Da'if, he says, in this context. But Al-Albani and all the other scholars I just mentioned, they're familiar with this person in the chain, and they know, like, Al-Albani gives him a different grading. Like he thinks that he's like trustworthy, but sometimes he has like some defects or something. So I found in 3 different books, just from Al-Albani, 3 different books of his where he grades hadith. 2 of them it says Hasan, and 1 of them he actually says Sahih. So, and he's familiar with this, one narrator that Arnaud has problems with.
Arnaud is people who don't know, he's a contemporary scholar. He died in 2004. So whatever information he had, all these previous scholars had before him, sometimes by hundreds of years.
Yeah, I have to say, Fareed, looking like a lot of picking and choosing if you're going to dismiss this hadith. Like, seriously, this is bad. And as DOC pointed out, why are you flipping out on this hadith when it says exactly what the Quran says? I mean, just think about this. Allah says over and over again, I'm confirming what's with you. I'm confirming what's with you. I'm talking about the Torah. I'm talking about the Torah. Believe in all of it, not just parts. I'm really serious here. Jews, judge by the Torah. Jews and Christians, you have no ground to stand upon unless you stand fast by the Torah and the gospel. It's like as clear as he can possibly make it. And then as like the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae, we say, oh, and by the way, if you think you can wriggle your way out of this, even Muhammad said the exact same thing. And they go, no, he would never say that. Let's look around for a reason to call it weak. What are you doing? So Muhammad agreed with Allah and you can't allow that? What the heck is this religion, man? What is this? All right.
Oh, yeah, I have to say, so Fareed came up with a video that features the response that Daniel gave, and Fareed, he's not the brightest Muslim Dawah game. No, but it's really funny because Daniel is criticizing his video, and Fareed doesn't actually give a response in the video. What he does is he replays the video. So the video that Daniel already said was insufficient and was bad, he just replays the same video, like the same points over again. He's like, maybe he'll get it now the second time. It's like, he He wasn't convinced the first time.
I guess that's the Dawah method. If your terrible response doesn't work the first time, just give the same terrible response again.
Literally,
that's what we've been hearing for years.
Yeah.
All right. Break it down for us, Fareed. Break it down for us. Blow our minds away.
Well, you see, it's nothing like a popularity contest. They're both established hadith scholars, and they've both graded a massive number of hadiths. So,
but one has your most respected commentators on his side, and the other is trying to avoid what the hadith says.
What we do in this situation...
It's not a popularity contest, but like all of hadith scholarship is based on the authority of whoever is saying what they're saying, which is like basically a popularity contest.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
they actually have a concept in Islam like for how to determine something is true. They have something called like consensus, and so that literally by definition
that's
is
a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Hey, there is one thing we're forgetting in all of this. We're talking about hadith scholars and what's weak and what can stand up to scrutiny and so on. Didn't Sheikh Yasser Qadhi recently admit that hadith methodology cannot stand up to academic scrutiny at all, and no academic takes this seriously, and you just have to accept by blind faith as a Muslim that this is the way to go? Didn't he say something like that?
Yeah, but Yasser Qadhi is 2 steps ahead. He's way smarter than all of these losers. So he's already like, yeah, this doesn't work. They haven't caught up yet.
So the point there is, Fareed, you're kind of helping your buddy Sheikh Yasser Qadhi when you're like, oh, this scholar says this and he disagrees with this scholar, and so we'll just pick the one we like best and go with that, even though whatever we do, other scholars are going to say the opposite. And not only that, if we attack this hadith, we've shown that our greatest commentators of all time were all using weak material to make their points, and it's actually weak material that cannot stand up to scrutiny. Dude.
I was just thinking, it's a good thing that Yasser Qadhi doesn't drink, because if he went to like a wedding and he had a bit too much to drink, can you imagine what he'd be like? He'd be like, "You guys, you never guess what the hadith. It's all just a lie."
Because he does like 1984 doublethink. In 1984, they have this thing called doublethink, where you have 2 contradicting ideas in your head at the same time. And I feel like he has that, right? But if you put some alcohol in there, and that boundary would just come right down.
Oh, yeah. That's why drinking is forbidden in Islam, to keep everyone from blurting all this stuff out. Yasser Qadhi be like, you didn't hear half of it when I did the holes in the narrative interview. You guys didn't hear half of it. The whole Quran is one epic disaster, but I can't do it because it's my entire career. I can't tell. Father, why have I failed you? You wanted me to defend the perfect preservation, and I failed.
He starts calling on his father. Oh, gosh. He'd be like, guys, you've heard about Gog and Magog. Let me tell you right now. Zombies. Because he gave the whole zombie idea.
Didn't he say he was joking later on when everyone attacked?
After he sobered up,
at the time, he didn't say that.
He was joking for a whole sermon.
Yeah, it was just a joke, guys. But that's one of Joshua Little's criticisms of hadith as well, like the so-called science of hadith as well. The fact that you have different scholars who have different ratings for like different people that are considered reliable or not reliable. It's not an objective standard. So you do have to pick and choose. Contrary to what Fareed is saying, you have to is this one right or is this one right? Because this guy says this guy's a good reliable transmitter, and this one says he's not. So there's this subjectivity there that makes it impossible for this to be an objective method.
And they're both, and you can have like what Fareed said, both scholars are equally valid. Yep. It's not that one was better than the other. So now what do we do?
Yeah.
And they're saying different things.
But he was setting it up to like it was just like 2 scholars. But I just listed 9 scholars who say it's authentic. And I mean, it sounds better if you only have like one scholar saying one thing and one scholar saying something else. Because then you can be like, okay, let's like value the evidence. Let's see what they say. But then if you have like 9 scholars versus 1 scholar, it's like, how could they all miss what, little Fareed with no education has to say?
Yeah, Fareed sits there and goes through the chain. Dude, who are you? You've had scholars who've had the same chains as you. They said that it was good. So
Just
you can't be off.
instinctually reading the Quran, you try to get inside the head of the author of that book. You go, what kind of person would this be? What kind of things would they do? And then you read this hadith. To me, it looks exactly like something that the person who wrote the Quran would do. Like if you're reading, like all those verses through the 540s, it's like this checks out. It passes the sniff test.
Yep.
This seems like something the historical Muhammad would do if the Quran is in any way an image of the historical Muhammad.
And that's why they made it good. That's why they said it was good hadith, all these scholars. They're not silly.
And on that topic of one scholar saying something and another scholar saying something else, and them getting different results, even though they supposedly got this awesome methodology, and then non-Muslim academics looking at this going, this is a disaster, look at this. It's even within hadith collections. This is also something that Joshua Little points out, that you have topics in the hadith, and these hadiths over here will all be sahih. These hadiths over here will be sahih, and yet they're saying completely different things. So he uses the example of like Mutta in one of his talks that he gave, and his view is that Islam back in the early on in the early century was regional. Like you had the Islam around Mecca, and the Islam in the area of Medina, and the Islam in the area of Kufa, and so you had different, and they all prayed and things like that, and they had common ground. But basically, it's regional. They're coming up with their own rules that are popular in their region. And then once you end up with this attempt to sort of standardize Islam, then in order to defend their local tradition, they start writing these isnads and tracing them back earlier and earlier until it goes back to a companion of Muhammad. That became the method to defend your particular version. But guess what? Since they're all making these things up, then you get to hadiths, and you go to you'll have multiple hadiths where it says that Muhammad allowed mutta for a while, but then he forbade it, and then there was no more mutta. But then you'll go to other passages in the exact same hadith collection with the exact same grade of sahih, and it'll say, no, it was mutta was allowed throughout the time of Muhammad and even into the time of the caliphs, and it's a later caliph who forbade the practice, and so on. So you'll get these contradictory results, and it's like, why are we supposed to take this methodology seriously? You got some serious problems. So it's clear there's some things that are being made up here, and it's just, but here, notice on that issue, like mutta, what are you going to do? If you don't want to practice mutta, you'd say, oh, these sahih narrations which say Muhammad forbade the practice, those are the correct ones, so I'm going with those. If you want to practice mutta, then you just say, oh, these other ones about a later caliph actually forbidding the practice, those are the correct stories, and therefore someone wrote it back and tried to pin it on Muhammad, but we're not going to allow them to deceive us like that. Mutta was good throughout the lifetime of Muhammad, and no one should be allowed to take away this great and beautiful practice of treating women like prostitutes. So
I mean, that's like exactly what we're seeing with Farid right now. It's like you have a hadith here that goes against something that he finds it problematic, so he tries to find a scholar somewhere under the trash bin somewhere to say that it's weak. And you could just imagine, like, that's what the people who were making this stuff were doing as well. They were like, yeah, we want this practice, we want this, so they're just making stuff up. Now Farid, all he needs to do is like find the one that, and this is so common in Islam, like when it comes to like Islamic law and practice, you can find them saying, oh, one scholar saying, oh, this is forbidden or this is disliked, and then someone's like, oh, it's okay, you can do it, and it's like you just pick and choose.
And then that's why people say, okay, let's go to the Quran. And then when you go to the Quran, they say, no, we can't understand the Quran on its own. So you're stuck.
Yeah. It's like, you want this ruling? Okay, you go with this scholar. That's what we call it, scholar for $1. Scholar for $1.
Yes, I have a friend of mine who's 96 years old, and I can talk to her about her dad who fought World War I. And so I can get back about 100 years in living memory to a primary source on someone. The problem, though, so you can get really old, non-written data. So I wouldn't want to say every single hadith is definitely false. But it is double that amount of time period. And the people who are most sympathetic to the position, like Bukhari, he said there's 600,000 false ones and 7,000 true ones. And his way of figuring that out is to look at the isnads that can be just as easily made up as the matins. And so, yeah, it might be that you imagine like a room full of dust and there's a couple of flecks of gold in there, but you have no way to find it, you know? So there might be a real tradition. Like, it just seems to me, yeah, there'd have to be so much fake information if even the people most sympathetic to the position are like, yeah, the vast majority of these are fake.
Yeah, that's the issue. If people are passing down oral tradition and trying their best to do so reliably, then, obviously there's a problem. Like the longer you go, the more of a problem you're going to have. But the issue in Islam is this isn't simply happening in an atmosphere where we know that all these people are doing their best to preserve accurate information. It's clear that some of them are, but it's also in an environment where they're making things up left and right in order to justify every single position that comes along. And it's like, what do you do with this mess? So you'll have people like Jay Smith and Robert Spencer who look at that and go, this is one big mess. Can't trust any of it. Therefore, we can't even trust that it's reliable on something like the existence of Muhammad. I think you can get, and Joshua Little believes you can get to some reliable information there, but you have to apply actual methods of historians, right? Historians have methods for taking even unreliable material and trying to get to certain things in that material that are still historically reliable. But Muslims reject these methods. Well, guess what? If you're rejecting those methods, which are the only methods that you could actually use to take this giant mess that you have and try and establish some historically reliable information, if you're rejecting that, then, and you're just going, nope, the only method is this, it's not criticism, and you guys are just playing this pick and choose game, wow, you guys are in trouble. You don't even realize it. All right, back to Fareed here. Blow our minds, Fareed. You haven't done it yet, but here we go.
Is we stick with the evidence. You see, the discussion revolves around a narrator called Hisham bin Sa'ad, who Al-Albani considers to be a mid-tier narrator, and who Sheikh Shu'aib considers to be a weak narrator. Of course, these decisions in regards to how strong or how weak a narrator is basically revolves around what classical scholars have had to say about those narrators. And we often find classical compilations that list out the opinions of the classical scholars of hadith. And yes, you will find a lot of criticism about him, but you will find a bunch of quotes that seem to put him in that mid-tier category. So I can definitely see why both Sheikh Shu'aib arrived at his conclusion. I can also understand why Al-Albani arrived at his conclusion. However, there are some works that perhaps weren't...
So here's Fareed thinking he knows better than Al-Albani and all the other scholars we mentioned.
Maybe I'm like jumping the gun a bit here, but does he ever actually give an argument as to why this is not correct? Or is he just going to be like, so yes, there's Al-Albani's position, but there's another position, what? And he just tries to like muddy the waters and be like, oh, which one's true? Or does he actually give reasons? Because at the moment he doesn't give any reason at all.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
What makes it even funnier is the context of him saying Daniel got caught with his pants down, but if he had this, then it would be a totally different story.
Can you imagine Daniel trying to bring this up in a debate? If he'd have said, "Oh, here's a scholar," I'd have burned him up and said, "Al-Bani says it," and then, "Oh, look, Ibn Kathir, he agrees." That wouldn't have gone. Dumb. That wouldn't have worked, Fareed. That would not have worked in a debate. Let me put it this way, Fareed. That would only work in a debate if it's just someone who read it and they quote it and they have no idea who Al-Albani is or what to say. That's the only time it would work, right? We're past those days, Fareed. People are onto your tricks. They're onto your tricks here.
By the way, we saw a number of Muslims who were actually, when Fareed did this recent video where he just reposted his comments here after Daniel said what he said, he replayed Daniel saying what he said. Didn't we find a number of Muslim comments?
Comments, and we screenshotted them underneath. They're saying, "What do you mean? This doesn't solve anything."
Exactly.
We can see why Daniel said what he said. What are you doing? Because notice this is an issue. Now you're saying, because it's either this happened or it didn't. It's either Muhammad put it on the cushion and said what he said, or he didn't. You can't say, I can see why that person said it might have happened, and I can see why that person said it might not have happened.
That makes Muslims feel very uneasy.
What do you mean? We're not talking about who likes which dish. We're talking about, does this happen or not?
Muslims don't like that. They feel very uneasy about that.
So you can't have a process that tells you both yes and no, and you can respect both sides.
Yeah, they want to know, did he do it or not?
I don't know why they don't realize that.
Yeah, and by the way, when we were playing this, when I paused it, I was kind of smirking, and it was because when I was playing this, I actually had a flashback to when Yasser Qadhi said, "When you do a deep dive, that's when you're like, what is all this stuff?"
Yeah.
Right? Now, there he's talking about them trying to figure out the Quran, them trying to figure out the standard narrative of the Quran and how to fix that. But what is all this stuff? And he's talking about when you're at the beginning level and stuff, you just accept all this stuff. And then, then you see these, then you start seeing, hey, there's some problems here. So that at that point, you just regurgitate what your favorite scholars say. And then you do a deep dive, and then you're like, whoa, we got some serious problems here.
Freed's at that regurgitate state. He's still in the kiddie pool. He hasn't done the deep dive yet.
Yeah. But I mean, think applying this to Muslims in general. We've got this great methodology, and we heard that Sheikh Yasser Qadhi is saying that we've got some serious problems with our methodology, and it can't stand up to academic scrutiny. But Fareed says, no, our method is as good as gold. It's as good as gold. We've got this airtight methodology. And then you watch his video, and it's like, well, this scholar says this scholar says that. So it happened, and it didn't happen. Muhammad's entire life is basically this Schrodinger's cat situation, and we have no idea what's going on. It's like, thank you, Fareed. Thank you for that. Wow, it's amazing.
And then you use that to call out a debater, and then call it a reputation of David Wood. It's like
David Wood rejected by Schrodinger's cat.
I was just thinking, imagine if Daniel actually raised that in the debate. Like, one scholar says it might have happened, another scholar says it might not have happened. Therefore,
and your opponent is a philosopher.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck with that.
These are fun times. Here we go.
Visited by Al-Albani, like Mughlaqai's Ikmal, who quotes a bunch of them weakening him. So Ibn Sa'ad, Yahya ibn Sa'id, Al-Barqi, Al-Uqayli, Abu al-Arab al-Tamimi, Ibn Jarud, Al-Muntajili, Ibn al-Sakan, Al-Fasawi, Al-Dulabi, Al-Balkhi, Al-Khalili, and Abu Ahmad al-Hakim. Now, despite Abu Dawood al-Sijistani himself saying that Hisham bin Sa'ad is one of the strongest narrators from Zayd bin Aslam, it's still drowned in the sea of criticisms against Hisham bin Sa'ad.
And he still doesn't get what he's doing here. So it's still drowned in the sea of criticism and so on. Wait a minute. So this story makes it down. And Abu Dawud didn't catch that. He thought this is not weak. And some of your greatest commentators of all time, it made it through their filters, and they passed on this information. And suddenly we get down to the 21st century, and it was actually weak. So this managed to deceive many centuries of Islam's greatest scholars, and that's your problem, because it sounds like your methodology is massively deceptive and misleading if it can deceive the best of your scholars. Just wanted to point that out, Fareed.
Sounds like a popularity contest, Like,
yeah,
right. Popular at the time. It's like, this guy says this guy didn't like him, this guy didn't like him, this guy didn't like him, but this guy really liked him, so we're going with it. The Islamic dilemma. Yeah, get all those guys that we didn't like him. All of a sudden we care more about them now and what they have to say.
They're what matters. Yeah, but seriously,
that'd be a funny clip, though. Fareed saying it's not a popularity contest, and then you go right to the part where you list like 20 different people, like saying, "Sounds like it." It sounds like that's what he's doing. But I mean, again, he's like, we mentioned like 9 different scholars, and he's basically saying like, none of these people saw this. Like Ibn Taymiyyah didn't see this. Ibn Kathir didn't see this. Sheikh bin Baz didn't see this. Ibn Hajar, he didn't see that. None of these scholars saw what he saw.
But only Fareed saw.
Only Fareed saw it.
And the bunch of people that he's quoting.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. These people who are actual Islamic scholars, not just Fareed responds. They didn't see what he said. They didn't see what he's seeing. but Fareed sees it. Okay, makes sense.
And there's a further problem here, Fareed. Think about this. If century after century after century of Muslim scholars and some of your greatest scholars, if they can all think that this story's not weak and treat it as reliable historical information, and then you just find out, we all just find out now that it's actually garbage that can't be trusted, what else are we going to find out that's garbage that can't be trusted in the future, right? So just to be clear, Fareed, Ibn Kathir can treat this as historically reliable. Then you come along later, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm Fareed. I will tell you what's historically reliable and what's not. Ha ha, you were wrong, Ibn Kathir. You were wrong, Ibn Taymiyyah. You were wrong, Abu Dawud, one of our greatest hadith scholars. You're wrong, Al-Albani. You're all wrong. Okay. So 5 years from now, information that Muslims and Muslim scholars think is reliable right now might be shown 5 years from now that it's actually just completely untrustworthy, right?
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's a problem.
That's true, according to you, right? Centuries of Muslims can think something is reliable, and then you come along and can say, no, it's actually not reliable. So what are you going to say 5 years from now is not reliable, Fareed? Ouch. There goes. Is it Muhammad's existence that's going to be unreliable? Are you going to be working with Jay Smith and Robert Spencer?
Moreover, there's another criticism mentioned by Sheikh Shu'aib, which is that we also have the same report from Az-Zuhri, from Nafi', from Ibn Umar in the Sahihain, and they don't include this edition. I'd also like to add that we have the same report.
Wait, what's that?
I was just saying zoot zoot. Yeah, no.
I heard that as well and thought, wait, what's he saying?
That wasn't
Who's he referring to?
Yeah, no. So Ibn Fibn, Sheikh Uthman tried this method as well, where what he does is he takes. Remember to try to save Sneeko about the Yemenis are the best people. He tried to do a comparative analysis to other hadith that have the same exact kind of content in there, but they don't have that specific phrase. And so this is exactly what Uthman tried to do, but it failed because all the scholars were like, no, you're actually wrong. That's an authentic hadith. This method is not one that Muslim scholars, the times that you think it would work, it doesn't work. And this is not one of those times. So this is something that people like Fareed and Uthman ibn Fibn try to do to try to save Islam.
They play with the phrasing. They find a scholar that hasn't narrated that specific phrasing to try and cast doubt on it, when lots of other scholars have said no, it's good. All of it.
Yeah.
Even this isn't that friendly though. So if the Torah is totally corrupted, why is he having them bring it out? Like his whole point is supposed to be that it's not reliable because you can't count on that Hassan.
Yeah, so even if you toss out this sentence right here, he's still having them bring the Torah, and he supposedly knows what this is, and it's for purposes of judgment and so on. So
yeah,
it all goes back to what Daughter of Christ was saying. Like, it's in the Quran. Like, even if you refuted all of this, you can still make the same point just from the Quran, which is arguably like a better way of making the point. So it's kind of dumb that they're trying to refute it in this way. It conforms completely with the message of the Quran.
It's literally that one sentence that they're taking issue with. Even the sheikh that he's quoting who says it's weak, it's literally this one sentence. So yeah, break down the sentence and let's see, what do Muslims have issue with? Are you supposed to believe in the Torah? You're supposed to believe in the Torah. Are you supposed to believe in he who revealed the Torah? You're supposed to believe in he who revealed the Torah. So what exactly, how is this, like Daniel said, how is this destroying the Islamic dilemma?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
yeah, from the perspective of the Quran, if you actually took the Quran seriously, which they obviously don't, if you read the Quran and what the Quran says over and over again about the reliability of the Torah, how would this be even mildly controversial? It wouldn't be controversial at all. It's exactly what Muhammad should say in a situation like this. I believe in you. Oh my goodness, he believes in the Torah. You mean as we're all commanded to do? This is weird. So, I mean, it's amazing. They can hear something from a Dawah clown all their lives, And then you could show them the Dawah clown contradicts Allah. They'll go with the Dawah clown 100% of the time and don't care at all what Allah says. And then when you're like, hey, be careful because, even your prophet, he agrees with our interpretation of these dozens and dozens of verses, just to be clear. And they'll, no, let's look for a reason to dismiss that hadith so we can bring Islam once again in line with what our Dawah guy said and not with what Allah said. This is a weird, weird religion.
So David, if Daniel used this, would this have? David said that I'm sorry, not David. Fareed said this would prevent him from getting caught with his pants down.
Would it?
So would that have worked?
Would his dress have still been up?
No, yeah. I wouldn't have had. You guys obviously are familiar with more of the commentators and so on, and more of the hadith scholars and stuff. I would have said Albani said he's the GOAT. He didn't think it was weak. I would have said Abu Dawood. He used it. He didn't comment on it. And I would have said, you've got this in, Ibn Kathir quotes this as historically reliable. So I would have pointed out that he's picking and choosing. And then I would have pointed out it's exactly what they do with the Quran. It's exactly what they do with the Hadith. And so don't think this would have been the case cracker that Fareed thinks it would have been.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's like, imagine that there's like a house burning down and Daniel Hakichu's trying to put it out with a bucket of water. And then Fareed's like, you're doing it wrong. And he goes and he like puts a spoon of water on the doghouse that's also on fire and it doesn't even do anything.
Right. I was thinking Fareed's like, hey, you're trying to put out this fire with that bucket of water. Let me show you this bucket of gasoline here.
Yeah.
Oh!
I thought you were going to be like, you're trying to put out the fire, but this other scholar says there is no fire, so I can see why he might be right, and I can see why he might be right. But this guy Gary down the road, he said that he wasn't a reliable narrator.
That is a better example.
Isn't there something called like blue fire or something? It's like not visible to the eye. And Fareed's like, hey, if you put on these glasses, you can see the blue fire. You can't see the fire.
If we just wear blindfolds, we can pretend there is no fire. Oh boy.
From Abdullah bin Dinar, narrating this from Ibn Umar, he also doesn't mention this part about the Prophet, peace be upon him, placing the Torah on a cushion and saying, I believe in you. So yes, in this specific case, I'm going to have to side with Sheikh Shu'aib. He definitely has the evidence on his side due to, one, the lack of corroboration for Hisham bin Sa'ad, and two, the overwhelming claims of Hisham bin Sa'ad being a weak narrator. And this supports the classical Muslim position. The scholars have...
That your methodology is
What?
garbage?
No, it doesn't.
What?
The classical...
Muslim position.
Well, Ibn Taymiyyah is not classical enough for you.
All
No.
the Muslim
And
scholars...
Ben is not classical enough.
Listen,
What?
all these heretics like Ibn Kathir and
Like
Ibn
Abu
Taymiyyah,
Dawood.
who are completely ignorant of this valuable material that I now have access to. And look, Abu Dawood was a moron. These guys don't know anything compared to me. I am the GOAT. Wow. Albani, who is he?
Wow.
Just put on these blindfolds.
Classical.
Every new Dawah response is going to be throwing 14 centuries of Muslim scholars under the bus.
It's just funny because the one scholar that he quotes to say this is weak is not a classical scholar.
No, he's not Shaib. No, he's not.
He literally he just
It's
died.
some guy. No, he died 2016. I got the date wrong.
He just died 2016. This is a classical Muslim scholar,
And everybody else isn't.
The greatest of classical Muslim scholars, my friend from down the road, he said this.
Like most Muslims wouldn't have even heard of Arnaud, but they would have heard of all the others.
Yeah.
You can't just dig someone up from the dust of whatever's at the bottom of your bookshelf, and then say he's classical, and then the others aren't. That it doesn't.
Muslims, you Muslims who are watching, very seriously here, we want you to understand the methodology that they are using. You can have Allah over and over again in the Quran saying something that is completely, it's like obvious what he means. These are the clearest verses in the Quran, and they can all be saying one thing. But then what will the Muslim Dawah-gandist who doesn't want to believe that do? He'll go to an ambiguous verse that you can look at 20 different commentaries and get 20 different responses to what it actually means. He'll insert the meaning that he wants into the ambiguous verse, and then he'll use that to dismiss all of the clear verses, right? That is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do to interpret a text accurately. Then they'll do the same thing with the hadith. They don't like what a hadith says. They'll just start doing they'll look for someone. They'll look for someone who had doubt about something, and they'll say, oh, so you can't use that, it's weak. Not realizing, hey, Fareed, if we want, we can find a scholar like, I don't know, Sheikh Yasser Qadi, who tells us the entire system is weak from an academic perspective. So we can throw out literally anything from your sources right now by saying it can't stand up to academic scrutiny. You don't want us doing that, right? You want us taking your methodology very seriously. Okay, well, why are you going with a guy who goes against what everyone else says about something? If your system's actually good, if your system is actually good, why did this information deceive some of your greatest scholars over the centuries?
Allah only made it appear to be authentic
for all those centuries,
and it wasn't really authentic
until Fareed came along.
Yeah, and then Fareed came along and he fixed it all. You know what's amazing is for what Fareed's doing right now, it's something that I used to notice from Shabir Ali. Shabir would be like, I figured out how to reconcile all this. I figured out that Jesus was put on the cross and here's what happened and so on. And I'd just be sitting there thinking, you really think 14 centuries of Muslims all got this wrong and that you showed up and then you're the one who finally understands it? Like, that's what you believe? But it's the same thing Fareed's doing now. Yeah, 14 centuries of Muslims didn't get it, but I get it. I'm the golden one. This is, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. This is crazy stuff. All right, just a few more seconds of this video left. Let's see if he's... Hopefully the final seconds are better than the first several minutes, Fareed.
Always had this general view of skepticism against the Old Testament and New Testament. And actually, I'd like to challenge the Christian polemicists to provide an example of a classical Muslim scholar that held the view that the Torah is fully preserved. Oh, and I'm kind of...
Well,
that's what we responded to.
Yeah, Giant DSC responded to that. I just want to point out.
No.
Fareed, I'm talking about Allah. All right, go.
Yeah, no. This was a stream that you and Chris and us, we all responded to it together. And then the next video that he has is actually a response to that video. So, yeah. That's...
Right,
but he said classical. He said classical scholars, but he just nullified all the classical scholars by not...
Yeah, why would we go to classical scholars when, according to you, they're a bunch of idiots who were easily deceived and duped by false information that some idiot made up? Why? Are these guys reliable? Like when there's something wrong with a story, do they pick up on it? No, they need you for that, right? And so your classical scholars are garbage, and their methodology just didn't work. Hang on, let's play a couple more seconds here, and then it'll be done.
To let you know that I'm familiar with the types of statements that you're going to bring to argue that classical Muslim scholars believed in the preservation of the Old Testament and New Testament. But yeah, go for it. Let's see what happens. In any case, I'll catch you guys in the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, Fareed, let me give you an example of what this is like, man. So this was a while back. Donald Trump, but you could use any example of any president or any leader and so on. This is just the most recent. But Donald Trump this is when he was running for president. He's speaking somewhere, and a guy takes a shot at him and hits him in the ear as he's turning his head, right? Okay, that should tell you something. That should tell you that the security around him was not very good. If there's actually a guy with a gun on top of a building over there taking a shot at him, right? That tells you there was a failure of security. And so guess what? Then they get that. Suppose they get that guy. Does that mean everything's fine? No. Why not? Because it means your entire security system was flawed. Your entire system was flawed. You let someone get close enough to take a shot at Trump's head, right? Okay. So it's the same thing with any assassination attempt. You had actual assassinations of presidents and so on. Nowadays you have the Secret Service, and they're supposed to be protecting the president or protecting other people and so on. Well, guess what? Suppose there's this big rally and security has its system in place, and there's a metal detector and they're using the wand and they're They're screening every single person who gets into this rally. So they're screening this person, they're screening the next person, they're having people take everything out of their pockets, checking all their stuff and so on. And then you get a big rally full of people. Suppose someone at this rally all of a sudden pulls out an AK-47. The response should not just be, oh, we need to get rid of this person with the AK-47 and then we're fine. You're not fine. Because for all you know, if someone got through with an AK-47, your entire system is flawed. Everyone might have an AK-47 in there. Your system, your entire system is defective. Your system for screening people is defective. All right. Now use that same example as people like Ibn Kathir and Ibn Taymiyyah, Abu Dawud, and so on. They're trying to get to accurate information. If they keep letting in all these false stories, what's that mean? It means their system is defective. Their system for determining what's true and what's false, the entire system is defective. Okay, how do you know what they believe is right and what they believe is wrong? How do you know? Oh, we know how you know, Fareed. You decide what you want to believe ahead of time, and then you go and you reinterpret Allah to be saying that, and you reinterpret Muhammad to say that, and then you pick and choose scholars who are going to affirm what you believe. And we don't control you. So if that's your method, that's your method. But to then turn to us and say, you see, I've got the answer. Like everything we're seeing from you is like, do you not realize how insane you sound? Do you not realize how screwed up this system is? But anyway. All right. Anyone's mind blown by what Fareed just said?
No, I'm curious what Daniel would have to say about that, though. Maybe his mind got blown. And he's like, I should have used that argument.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, should we take back the Islamic dilemma now?
I think so.
Yeah, apparently we're supposed.
Yeah.
Apparently we're supposed to renounce the Islamic dilemma.
Yeah.
Oh no!
It prevents Muslims from getting caught with their pants down if they learn that argument.
Hey, someone deleted someone's comment earlier, and I was like, hey, what'd they delete? And here it is. A Psychopathics Roadshow. Is your father all right, David? Or is he still processing the fact that you tried to kill him many years ago? No, he figured that out because I told him. He didn't actually remember. He didn't actually remember. But yeah, I told him. Is he all right? No, he died. He died of a heart attack right around 50. So hope that clears things up. Any other questions? Wait, did he get banned or is he still around? If he has any follow-ups. Hey, a Psychopathics Roadshow. You know, if you're confused about the history of everything, I've got a video. It's called How God Destroyed My Atheism. Go ahead and check that out. And if you want to go around pointing out things I've done in my past, that's filled with it. That's a bunch of stuff in there. So go ahead and share that with all your Muslim friends and say, look at this thing that this David Wood did. Go ahead and share that video. Check it out. All right. Just wanted to check that out because poor guy's comment got blocked. Let's take a couple super chats and then we will check out. So we've got two videos from Fareed. You guys are saying we should check out Daniel's response?
I think so.
Yeah, I want to see what his mind was blown.
Yeah. So the Daniel's response video is specifically to that, not to the other one?
I think
for the most part, yeah. I mean, I could summarize the other one because I think it was like 16 minutes. I could summarize because I remember that one, and his argument was really bad. But if you want to watch it, we can. But
yeah, we'll check out Daniel's. Yeah. We'll check out Daniel's response first, and then we'll see how long we can go through Fareed's other video because that's a longer one. But we'll watch it as long as it's entertaining or he's making any point we're interested in. Let's see. Austin said, please let the stream last at least 4 hours. It will not. That's how long I have left on my road trip, and congratulations on whipping Daniel on the debate. Poor Daniel. Hey, I have to say, though, this has been pointed out. Credit where it's due. At least he's willing to debate it, unlike some of these other guys. Right?
True.
That is a serious point. All you guys who are running your mouth, Daniel, you should have answered it like this. You guys all have an open invitation to debate us on this. And we can do it. We can do that in various ways. You can join us live and we can have a friendly discussion. We can debate it at a place like DebateCon. We can set up an online debate. We can do 2-on-2, 3-on-3, however you guys want to do it. Not like 40-on-1 like Muhammad and Al-Zoot, but just if you guys think there are better responses, we're sitting here going, give us the better responses. and you won't do it. So don't condemn Daniel because he's the only one who actually has the testicular fortitude to stand up and take on the kuffar. You should be praising him. Mosh says, no, this is too early. I'm still working. In the name of Al-Zut, I demand you at least wait until 1 a.m. to start the live. Always fun to see. Yeah, our British friends. That is funny. In the name of Al-Zut. We need to start saying that. In the name of Al-Zut, I command you. Seeing Daniel quote Muqatil made me cringe after the giant DOC streams on the word Muhammad. Couldn't a Muslim bite the bullet and say Mujahid was a kafir?
Yeah, I noticed he quoted Muqatil as well. And I think it was on the stream we did with IP.
RP.
Yeah, with IP, because
Muqatil is apparently a kafir and a heretic.
He believed that Allah had a body of flesh and blood. And so anyway, Muslims like to cite him because, like, to non-Muslims, it might sound a little impressive to say, like, this is the first commentary of the Quran. And so to like a non-Muslim, that might be like, oh, okay, that's okay. That's must have some sort of authority in Islam, but it does. There's no authority at all. The scholars in Islam say the only time he's right is when he's agreeing with other people, and if he says something on his own, he's a liar. So, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Muqatil is one of the sources on the satanic verses. You have a bunch of people early on in talking about the satanic verses, and he's one of them. But yeah, if
that's okay because he cooperates with other people. As long as he cooperates with other people.
I'm just saying, if I were to tell one of these now, if I tell an average Muslim, they're going to have no idea what I'm talking about because they don't know who any of these guys are. But if I were to quote Muqatil to a knowledgeable Muslim and say, look, he said that Muhammad delivered the satanic verses, they would point out all this weird stuff about Muqatil and say you can't trust him. But if he's ever convenient for them, he's as good as gold.
Yeah.
Pick and choose. Everybody loves to pick and choose. Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Saw nice. AP at Canary Wharf. Love to see it. I don't know what that is. What's that, Chris? You know what Canary Wharf is?
Yeah, it's a place in London, Canary Wharf. Yeah, very notorious place.
Nice. But, yeah. Based. Hey, D. Wood, I was glad to see yet another victory for the Islamic dilemma. Keep up the Lord's good work. God bless you all. I have to say, so Sam debated Khalil on this. Did not go well for Islam. I just debated Daniel on this. Did not go well for Islam. Someone's going to have to step up because if everyone just runs from it from now on, that kind of sends a message, guys.
You know the next one? The next one is Avery versus Jake at what's Marlin? And the conference, the Gospel Truth.
Mm-hmm.
He's hosting it in February next year. Avery versus Jake on the Islamic dilemma.
Jake, that's a bad.
Wait, is that something that's been agreed to?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was. You go to the Gospel Truth. He announced it. He officially announced it yesterday.
Wow.
And
Jake, that's a bad idea, Jake. Because for everyone who knows, we have a lot of work still left to do on the Islamic dilemma. But by the time all of this is done, it's going to be a nice website. Every Quran verse that has anything to say about the previous scriptures, it's going to have all the main commentaries there for any of these issues. It's going to have responses to every single lie you guys tell. We're about to put that into the hands of Christians and non-Christians, Muslims even, around the world. It's going to take away your ability to lie. So any Muslims who want to respond to the Islamic, you better be doing it real quick, because a year from now, it's not even going to be a possibility to respond to this. So better jump on it real quick and then thump your chest for the rest of your life and never pay any attention to anything that happens after that. So you guys should be jumping on this right now. It's your last chance. February? Too late, Jake. Too late.
But you know what?
Start planning an exit strategy of what excuse you're going to make to not debate that. Oh, I got stuck in the airport. Something. All right. What are you saying?
Yeah, well, one thing that Jake might have in his favor that Daniel didn't have is he's going to be able to prep with Fareed. So
Yeah, so he should have all the.
So there you go. So we know Jake's not going to get caught with his pants down, right?
Nope. Jake's going to be thoroughly prepared.
He should show up with a copy of Sunan Abu Dawud and just burn it for the debate. Yeah. And then put on sunglasses.
Isn't it funny that just after Daniel, Gadfly, just after Daniel did the Islamic dilemma, like Jake is such a copycat rival that he's like, I'm doing it too, and wants to one up manship. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah, that might be what's going on there too. Yeah.
Hey Jake, since you're preparing with Fareed, I'll go ahead and make you a deal. After your debate with Avery, I'll debate you and Fareed at the same time on the same stage.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Well, I want to see that. Say yes, please.
Because by that time it is too late. You could right now still catch me off guard on some stuff. You could. Next year, there's going to be no catching anyone off guard. It's all going to be right there in everyone's hands. So I will. Matter of fact, hey, we should do an experiment, guys. We'll do an experiment. We'll get a Muslim debater who agrees. We will then schedule a debate a week ahead of time. We'll let the Muslim pick our debater. We'll let the Muslim pick the Christian debater. And then we'll spend a week training a Christian to go through these, to navigate all this material. And he can just be responding based on the material right in front of his face.
That'd be interesting. Pick me.
No.
Mike Winger.
You'd annihilate these guys right now.
Mike Winger?
Mike Winger.
Yeah. We'll take the most ignorant of the most ignorant. Mike Winger. This guy has absolutely no clue what he's talking about on any of this stuff. And we'll just take the worst of the worst and say, okay, you go up against him. And I'm so confident that even Mike Winger would be able to answer you guys once he has the material in his hands.
It's really funny seeing IP. He'll have like these Old Testament scholars, New Testament scholars. He'll have like William Lane Craig. He'll have some philosophers. He'll have Egyptologists. And then people send super chats about like Azut. And he has to explain it to them, and it's hilarious to see their reactions. So it kind of reminds me of that. It's like, yeah, we'll just get someone they're not in the field at all.
It's like explaining to your grandmother what Azut is.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
So yeah, it's like someone who has no experience in the field at all, and then we just a week training them up.
In fact, I wanted James from Modern Day Debates to host both Daniel and Jake to debate the Tawheed.
Like debate each other.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, that's what we also need. We need Fareed and Daniel debating who has the worst response to the Islamic dilemma. You have the worst response. No, you have the worst response. No, your response is garbage. No, yours is garbage. That is the debate we all want. Is there a way to obtain a Quran in revealed order? Would help show abrogation and evolution of doctrine. You can easily... I would assume there's something like that. But you can just look up a website on the chronological order of surahs. If there's not, someone should make a Quran called the Chronological Quran. Now, there's some disputes about when certain things are revealed and which came later and stuff like that, but they have a general idea of a lot of it. So you could just go with some. This could just be said, this is going according to so-and-so's list of the chronological order of revelations and so on. But yeah, if that's not available, then someone should make that. What do you call a cow with 3 legs? Lean beef. Powerful. I see another emergency LS from the Christian. What's that? What's LS?
Oh, so Daniel's been, I don't know what LS is.
Oh, live stream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what.
Daniel's been accusing us of panicking. So no, he can't really make up his mind on this. On his tweets, he's saying that Christians are doing panic emergency streams and.
Weren't they all like victory live streams? Like ha.
Yeah, that's when he I think that's when he started to watch them and he realized that he was wrong.
Laughing.
So so yesterday he was live with Paul Williams. So after Daniel did a stream on his own channel, and then he did a stream with Paul Williams, and they were both talking about the Islamic dilemma. So I guess according to his logic, he's doing panic streams, emergency streams. But one of the things that he said with gay Paul Williams was that Christians are going around doing simulcast streams to the live debate, which he said multiple channels. I think only Chris was the only channel doing that. But anyway, he was saying that Christians were just like patting each other on the back, saying, "Yeah, you know."
Yeah. I think he watched us. You know why? Because I made fun of him. I said he was so unpopular that he couldn't find one Muslim to do a review with while we were all dancing and doing reviews together. He couldn't find one Muslim to do a review with.
He found one.
He found one.
Paul Williams.
The one that no one would talk to because he's got a different lifestyle.
Yeah,
than
Paul Williams
Islamic.
is very not popular among a lot of deists. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I think that's what
Paul,
that's the
reference. I'm just going to say it. You know, I'm not. From a psychological perspective, Paul Williams is a guy who hates himself so much that he wants to help Islam subjugate his entire country.
Wow.
That's a guy who hates himself so much that I'm just wired to go out and help my entire country be subjugated by these guys. And I'm not saying he's intentionally doing that. I'm saying that's how messed up he is. But hey, Paul Williams, you're a smart guy. One of the most inconsistent people I've ever seen in my entire life, as far as let's go to the Bible and apply the highest levels of critical scholarship from atheist to that, and then the Quran will just mindlessly accept any idiotic story about its background and so on. But Paul Williams,
how many times has he left Islam? How many times has he left Islam? Like 7 times?
Yeah, like 1 billion.
A lot.
Hey, Paul, if you think you can respond to the Islamic dilemma, open invitation. There's still time for DebateCon. There's still time for DebateCon in November. You could do it. In fact, if you want someone to hold your hand, you can join Daniel. You two can debate together, and then you'll have both your powerful intellects combined against the Islamic dilemma.
You can keep his pants up and help him that way. So at least you'll be useful in some
what's wrong
sense.
with you? You guys are
that's
meaner
too
than I am.
tempting. That's too tempting. Too tempting to comment on that one. That's a
Yeah, I'm holding myself back really hard.
Yeah. But it's funny that they think of this stuff as emergency live streams and stuff. What are we doing? It's like, hey, we've seen Daniel's response to the Islamic dilemma. It didn't do well, and even Muslims are calling him out. Fareed says he has better responses. So what are we doing? We're playing the responses for people.
Exactly.
We're not trying to hide this. That we're if you guys have a good response, we're happy to share that. Your responses suck. How are you regarding? I don't even know what to do at this point, man. These guys are weird.
Yeah, I was.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Before this stream, I was watching Anthony review the Paul Williams discussion with Daniel on the Islamic dilemma. And one of the points that he made I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it's a really good point. So one of the things that he said was that he said that Paul Williams was really surprised at one of your answers to Daniel's questions when he asked you, "Are you saying that the Quran affirms like every word, every part, every word in the Bible, every sentence?" And you said yes. And Paul Williams was all shocked. He was like, "I've never heard that before." And it's like, how long has this guy been doing this for? Like 20 years, and this argument's been around since this guy became a Muslim, and he's been engaged in polemics and Dawah activities apart from his other, life that he lives. He's been doing this for his whole time he's been a Muslim, and he's like, I've never heard anyone say that before. It's like, where have you been?
Yeah,
you've never heard a Christian say that?
Yeah. So Paul, let me just clarify here. When your God says, say, O people of the book, you have no ground to stand upon unless you stand fast by the Torah, the gospel, and all the revelation that has come to you from your Lord. Right? And then you look at that in the light of Surah 2, verse 85. Do you then believe in part of the book and reject the other? And Allah says he'll send people to hell for only believing in part of their book and not all of it. Sounds like he's confirming all of it. And if he's not, then he's just a bad communicator, and he claims that he's a very good communicator. There's no way out of this, dude. There's no way you can respond to the Islamic dilemma and you are not sacrificing part of the Quran and saying that it's just wrong. There's no way out. Prove me wrong. I
just noticed. Wait, this super chat, right? He gave $2.79. That's clever. I like that.
Powerful.
Nice.
Hey, we have Cool Bob. So we've got Bob, we've got Young Bob, and we've got Cool Bob. Do you think Daniel and other Dawah guys understand the Islamic dilemma deep down? No. They've gotten to the point where they kind of can say things about it at a superficial level, but no, the issue has not really.
I don't think they have the ability to switch.
I was about to say it hasn't really penetrated their mind, but then it was going to lead to an Al Zut joke, so I shut it down.
Imagine that Christianity came along later, and that it said you don't stand on anything unless you stand on the Quran, and then we tried to get around that saying, well, it's just the word Quran just means recitation, or like any of these defenses that you guys are making. You would laugh at how dumb they are if we were trying to make them, if the places were switched.
That's true. And if
go ahead.
Oh, and if you heard someone saying, Muslims, you have no ground to stand upon unless you stand upon the Quran, all the revelation that has come to you, and if you only believe in part of the Quran and not in every last word of it, I will send you to hell. And then someone going, what? You think it's condemning? You think it's advocating all of the Quran? It's like, that's definitely what it sounds like, sport.
If those roles were reversed, I would leave Christianity. That would be so ridiculous. If like the Bible's like, the Quran is it'll refresh you, it'll nourish you from above you and beneath your feet. You don't stand on anything unless you stand on the Quran. And then if the Quran totally contradicted the Bible, like I would be like, well, obviously my religion's false. I need to quit going out online and having loud opinions and sit and think about what I believe for a while. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, it's like what David was saying in response to what Daniel's response to that hadith was. So Fareed has his response where he tries to argue it's weak based off of one weak scholar, right? And he's ignoring all the classical scholars and everyone else that we mentioned. But Daniel says, like, he takes like the Jordan Peterson, like, what do you mean by believe? And so he's like, what does believe mean in that context? And so David was saying, like, well, if you say believe for the Torah, it means something different than it means when it's referring to Allah. Then so because he's saying for the Torah, it's only referring to general beliefs, general concepts, things that are repeated over and over. So does that mean that that's how he believes in Allah as well? Like he only believes that the stuff Allah says like over and over and over again, but doesn't believe every single word. Or when the Quran says to obey Muhammad, it doesn't mean like in every instance you obey him. It just means like just general principles you obey him in.
Just pick and choose.
If you take it to that level, it's like you're just all sorts of messed up.
Even that word confirm that's used in the Quran, it's somewhere around 341 or 339. There's like that area in Surah 3 where it's talking about Jesus and marrying them. And it says that John the Baptist confirms Jesus. And it's the same word that's used for the Quran confirming the Bible over and over again, the Torah and the Injil. And so do you just say...
He only confirmed part of Jesus.
It's so ad hoc to attack the definition of confirm just where it's creating this problem. It's like, but then you have to attack it everywhere else in the Quran where it pops up if you're being consistent.
Mm-hmm. What do you call a moose with no name? Anonymous? Very, it's got a Mike Winger fan telling his jokes here. Here's some devalued currency, Brazilian real for you, David. Big fan since 2017. Yeah, awesome. I recently began my Quran reading journey. I got through about the first 80 verses of Surah 2 and said, yep, that's enough. And that was my Quran reading journey. I will happily leave that to you all. I've been saying that for years when people say, hey, David, I'm interested in apologetics and I want to deal with Islam. Should I read the Quran? I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but you're going to give up partway through Surah 2. That's like 95% of the time people give up partway through Surah 2 and then they don't want to, and then they think, oh, well, I guess I'm just not cut out for dealing with Islam. So, yeah, I encourage people to study topically. Pick a topic you're interested in, look up what the Quran and the Hadith say on that topic, and then pick another topic you're interested in.
I will say this book helps, the Quran and the Bible by Gabriel Sid Reynolds, even though there's more reading because he has a whole bunch of commentary.
Are you talking about this book?
Yeah.
Chris,
that's so wish I had it now. I was
you let us down. You let us down
in a hotel room because I couldn't.
It adds to the reading. It adds to the readings because you're reading all of his notes as he goes, but it helps keep your mind engaged. Because I tried to read like the Sahih International before this one, and you just glaze over. Like it's just like word vomit, stream of consciousness, super repetitive. All of the different names of the characters from the Bible, not even prophets necessarily, popped up. They're telling the same story over and you'll just like go to sleep. You'll read the words, but they don't really sink in. But it actually helps you to struggle with the text a little bit and think about it more whenever you have this guy's commentary.
And that's in English. In the Arabic, because it actually, like, a lot of it actually rhymes, you start like losing focus of like what the meanings of the words actually are, and you just start focusing on the rhymes. So you're like, it's like you're not really paying attention to the meaning because you're just like rhyming.
And then when you pay attention and it's something disturbing, like,
what?
It jolts you.
So the English, they're trying to really, like, trying to really keep you alert and awake, and it's really hard, as you can tell.
Yeah, with Arabic there are no brackets. Can you imagine that?
Ashford says, don't mind me, just here to pay my jizya. By the way, David, haven't seen such a one-sided debate in a long time. Win Islamic dilemma, win David, win Christ, God bless. And here's the thing, guys. I'm not the best debater. There are Christian debaters who are way better debaters than I am. That should tell you something about the argument. It's the argument that's good, guys. It's the argument that's good.
Who do you consider to be? Who do you consider like? Who are your like top Christian debaters? Maybe you have different areas, but just like debate styles. Like, who would you say is a really good debater? Christian.
Me?
No, Christian debater. Like, I mean.
Oh, I mean, all kinds of guys. Sort of different styles. Like some are formal debaters and some are like informal debaters and stuff like that. But Anthony's a better debater than I am. Sam's a better debater than I am. Jay Dyer's a better debater than I am. Andrew Wilson's a better debater than I am. They're Inspiring Philosophy is a better debater than I am. There are plenty of better debaters than I am. I think if it's on certain topics, I think I would be among the best couple and so on. There are lots of so just debate skill or something like that. There are better debaters than I am. There are people who are quicker than I am and so on, and who are more organized. Let me put it that way. Let me put it this way. In my 30s, I think I was better. I was quicker back then. I was quicker. I've kind of lost it. I've kind of lost it in my 40s and stuff like that. I've slowed down my thinking, and it's kind of a combination where it's not just. And by the way, I can tell I do not remember things anywhere near as well as I did 20 years ago and so on. Now, if I am not using it over and over and over again, I don't remember. Like there were people at the conference, David, how do you know all these verses? How do you have such a great, because I use them over and over again. If you take stuff I don't use over and over again, I don't remember it anymore. But then there's also this going through an entire philosophy PhD. It's you're trained to doubt everything you say, right? It's basically when you put out a paper or something like that in philosophy, you know it's about to be attacked, and you know people are going to, and you want that. You want it to be attacked, and you want it to expose any weaknesses because you want to make it stronger and so on. But after years of that, it's basically everything you're about to say, you're like, well, there are these other things people could say. And, even though that's kind of my position, I understand there's these other people. You're constantly thinking about that and thinking, oh, well, maybe I'm not right. Because here's the idea, guys. You can say, okay, there are these 4 possible explanations of this, right? And so this is the one I believe. But you understand there are other people who hold other positions, so you start thinking like probabilistically, like, I'm like 60% sure this is right, and 20% this might be right, and 10% this. And so you have these different positions, but it's like, okay, based on the information I have now, I'm like 60% confident that this position, that this hypothesis is the correct one. Based on the information I have. Well, I don't have access to most information, right? So it's like, well, other information could show that one of these other ones is correct. And anyway, that's important. If you're trying to get to the truth, it's important to be thinking in terms like that. But that is in debate. You just need to be firing. You just be firing full force and stuff like that. And you can't be thinking like that. But I've been like wired to think like that. So when someone asks me something, the first thing that pops into my head, well, I kind of lean towards this, but this is another possibility, and that's another possibility, and that's another possibility. And that's just not good for firing right back at someone. So anyway, those are some of the issues that have arisen. Nice. And we have Ali Mutta is the proof of the Dawah's hikmah. These guys got the hikmah all right, man. Ali Mutta. We need to just start calling him Ali Mutta. Have Muslims ever recognized and approached you guys in public and said something to you? If so, were they heated confrontations or friendly? Yeah, especially like in the UK, very common. Normally, when people recognize me in the West, it's almost always fans. But in the UK, it was everywhere you go. I mean, Muslims are recognizing you over there.
Yeah,
it's always been kind of fine though. No one ever came up and clocked me or anything. What are you saying, Chris?
Yeah, well, same here. But like, it's mostly Muslims that recognize me, oddly, and usually it's because I'm walking and someone just stops and points at me, and I'm immediately like, oh, okay. And then I'll have to have a very awkward conversation of, oh, you're that guy. And I'm like, yes, I'm that guy. And it's like, usually they're like actually pretty friendly about it. But yeah, it's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah, when I first started hearing that, just be walking down the street, hey, you David Wood, I was like, oh, I'm about to get clocked. But it would almost always be fans. But yeah, that's the difference. Over in the US, it's almost always fans who recognize you. In the UK, it's Muslims. And so it just kind of means that people over there are paying way more attention to what's going on online than they are in the U.S. No wonder they can't see their own flaws. That's Christian doctrine to take out the plank in your own eye.
True.
Yeah, that helps. That helps. Uh-oh. You know it's going to be a serious live stream when D. Wood brings his lawyer. Spotted AP with Tusi on anti-migrant protest in Londonistan today. Disguised himself with sunglasses, beard, and bright red T-shirt. Covert survivor. Smart. I'm surprised you even recognized him. What's that?
No, I'm just thinking he's letting everybody know, like, that's AP.
If you see a guy with this...
Yeah.
He wears outfits so much, though, he'd almost be harder to see if he didn't have anything on that was different at all. It'd be like, well, if it was AP, he'd have a weird outfit on. He'd have like
some dreads or something.
Yeah.
He'd have some dreads. Super sticker from Daro, thanks. Super chat, no comment from Thomas here, thanks. Hi, David. Great job debating. Denial hates the Jew. That's him. Let's see. AP looks different, clean shaven. Oh, never mind. It's your friendly neighborhood gadfly. By the way, we need a movie series. Kufar Wars, the Dawah Wars. That's true. Salam al-Masih. Dawah drama is the best drama. God bless you all strong soldiers.
That's
These
right.
are good times. Oh, it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse for the Dawah. AT Ministries. Do Jai and DOC have a YouTube channel? Yes. Jai and DOC Reloaded.
Go sub.
The Bible is a lie. We all come from aliens. Oh, that's your song. The Bible is a lie. We all just come from aliens. Jesus was an alien. We all just come from aliens. Classic. You have a weird sense of humor, though, in some of your other videos, man.
That always gets the to the window, to the wall. I feel like it would go right into that. But anyway, you don't need to sing that song.
When you read the Quran's descriptions of hell, it's like reading torture porn fan fiction written by an 18-year-old. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. These Muslims throwing out the Quran's verses like there's some bad hadith. Apparently Allah is daif and Bart Ehrman is sahih. That is correct. They've been acting like this for years, like this level of picking and choosing, and they'll go to a scholar even if that scholar contradicts, what Allah says and stuff, but it's just getting easier to expose. Stop exposing us! Oh, hi, David. That's from Shirk Dawah. Nice. Shirk Dawah.
I have a clip from him. I don't know if we're going to get to it, though, but I have a clip from him. Yeah, I have a clip from him.
Since we are doing $1 for a scholar. Yep. Got to.
Yep.
Which sect best follows Islam, Sunni, Shia, or other? That depends on what you mean by Islam. And I mean, think about it. Sheikh Yasser Qadi saying, hey, the hadith methodology can't stand up to scrutiny. He's talking about Sunni hadith methodology. Guess what? Shia hadith methodology would be in the same boat. And so think about the implications there. Who's following it best? Neither one of them can stand up to scholarly scrutiny. And what did Yasser Qadi say? Well, if I'm speaking in the mosque and I've got my my kufi on, I just have to speak like that and just accept it by blind faith. Shia could do the exact same thing, so they're kind of in the same ballpark there. We all thought he was about to say Zut, thanks to Jai and DOC for making David give the Europe residents a slight chance. Clippy, it looks like you're trying to put out a fire. Did you know that fluids like gasoline can be... Did you know that fluids like gasoline can be used in this situation?
Your imitation of him sounds like a cartoon mouse to me. Like your Fareed.
Yeah. He used to be... It's funny how they change over time because he used to be like more condescending with it. I mean, he would talk like this until I started making fun of him. Then he dialed it back some. But it's the same thing with like
Sajid. Yeah.
Yes, Sajid. Sajid used to talk like this in his videos until I started responding to him like this, and now he tries to talk like a normal person. But it's with same thing with all these guys. It's going to be same thing with the Orthodox lips Muslim and so on. It's just they do stuff and we make fun of it, and they have to change. That's why I told him he's going to change his picture. Echoing Erudite says, "Why is Fareed scared to debate the Islamic dilemma?" You have to ask Fareed. Fareed, the final Mahdi. he's greater than everyone else. David, what is a great man? It depends on what you mean by great. How could a list of names be a bad security system? But we've got a list of names. It's the most powerful security system we have. Would Mo not be the most wanted terrorist of today? He would be in prison for a long, long time. Your testimonial is very powerful, Mr. Wood. I feel closer to Christ every time I watch it.
Wow.
Has the Diyah joke been entirely replaced by Muhammad getting something by Al-Zut? Not completely, but, this works in waves, guys. This works in waves. It's like we're talking about the eyes of the leather strap of the anus, and then Diyah al-Kalbi, and now Al-Zut, and eventually we just combined it all into one big joke. Maybe you should do a 1 versus 40 like the Jubilee vids. Can't do it. That's why all Muhammad Hijab's fans saying, "Oh, you should get Muhammad Hijab on there, Al-Jubilee." There's going to be too many Al-Zut jokes. It's too late for that. You cannot have a Muslim there. Did you ever hear about the Mutta dilemma? A lot of them.
I think Muhammad Hijab heard about that one.
Yeah, he heard about that one. So did Ali Dawah. Assuming Daniel's viewpoint, how massive of a conspiracy would it be for the early church to corrupt the scriptures? Really big. Yeah, you need something huge, like one central authority getting together all the manuscripts and burning them all and issuing a standard. Oh, that was Islam, not Christianity. My sister fled Christ, converted, married a Muslim, and immigrated to Saudi Arabia. As of yesterday, she's divorcing. She has 2 kids. Husband won't let her leave. Still a Muslim, but finally progress. Warnings, advice, prayers. Hey, Derek, 100% serious here. When you said my sister fled Christ, converted, married a Muslim, and emigrated to Saudi Arabia, I thought this is going to end in divorce and disaster, and he's not going to want to give the kids back, and Saudi Arabia's going to side with him, and it's going to be one big disaster. And then I finished reading. Why? Because I've heard that over and over again, and I hear that everywhere I go. Almost everywhere I go and speak, there's a woman who says, "Can I talk to you afterwards or during a break or something like that?" And she tells me the disastrous situation she's in from... and it's always the same story, but he treated me like a princess at first, and it was so wonderful. And he pointed out that you'll get those who convert, and you'll get those who are told, "Hey, you don't even have to convert. You don't even have to convert. You can remain a Christian. As a Muslim man, I'm allowed to marry a Christian woman, and you'll be treated very well." And then they get married, and then they have kids, and everything changes because then the pressure's massively on the woman. Now you have to convert. We don't want to be sending mixed signals to this kid his entire life. And that's when the family gets more involved, putting the pressure on the husband. So even if the husband was fine with his wife being a Christian, now the family wants to make sure that everything is smooth for the grandkids. And then, And I have to say, we need more women who've been through this actually exposing it. Because if I say it, people know David's just a bigot or something like this. If it's women who've been through it, they have more credibility. So need more women who've been through this situation.
Yeah,
exposing it.
We get these sort of emails all the time, and there's actually a movie called Not Without My Daughter.
Yep, Sally Fields. True story.
Yeah, check. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be like a help for Derek, but I mean, there's we'll definitely be praying though for sure. But for other people who, want to see more about that, that's a movie all about this like situation that happens all the time.
Yeah, in fact, that was one of my earliest exposures to Islam was in prison. And there was a guy there. There was a Muslim there. His name was Hamid. He was in there for kidnapping. Hamid was in there for kidnapping. And people asked him, say like, hey, what were you doing kidnapping? He said, well, no, it was my kid. And we said, what were you doing kidnapping your kid? He said, I'm from Saudi Arabia. You want your kid, you take your kid. No one's arresting you for it. Wow. Right? And so it's like, oh, so you come from a culture where, you're getting a divorce. Oh, I want the kid. I'm taking the kid. And the woman can't do anything about it. And then you're in America and they sent you to prison for it. Yeah. Islamic detective, you're going away for a long time. So if you want to protect your hide, better start talking. Garkatry. I ain't no snitch. Yeah. The Garkatry doesn't snitch. We need some Garkatry shirts. And then Muslim, hey, that would be like the next version of my Quran shirt. So I got my Quran body armor shirt, but I could also have a Garkatry shirt. This stream wouldn't be possible if it weren't for an 11th century Jew named Ibn Hazm paving the way for the David versus Daniel Islamic dilemma debate. He is who pushed the Bible's corrupt narrative because they couldn't find Momo in it. Poor people. Poor.
Yeah, he also said that when you're courting a woman in Islam, you can view her entirely naked. And if you find something that entices you to marry her, then you can do so. And Muhammad Hijab cited that opinion to Ali Dawah on his show.
Yeah, he was the one who taught us that.
Everybody thought that, like, well, how does this guy know this stuff? It's so random. And, well, now we know how he knows this stuff because he actually practices this stuff.
He needed it.
Yeah.
He's like, on ChatGPT, can I see?
Dawah, give me $100 for a house in Jannah. Yep. That's how it works. A couple more, and then we'll jump into Daniel's response. Who do you think is the best debater against Islam? He also
gave $2.79. Sorry, I'm just noticing this now.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a new
trend.
thing. It's a new thing. It would depend on the topic. Some people are like, again, if it were certain topics, I would think I'm one of the best on the topic. But other topics, I don't know. Yeah, it would depend on the topic. Great to hear from such intelligent men. Oh, hi, David. And what about DOC? David, you won the first debate, but you got smoked in the second one. I mean, the Jews. That argument crushed you. Yeah. Which religion respects Jesus more? We hate the Jews more than you. David, what text is printed on your Checkmate Jihadi shirt? Oh, it's all Quran passages about the Islamic dilemma, but they're in Arabic. And finally, Muhammad found the al-Zut fitting in the sight of his leather straps. Yes, that is absolutely true. All right, we're ready to jump into... Hey, we've been going a while. I don't even know if we're going to get to the longer Fareed video. We'll definitely get through... Daniel's response. Let's see what he's got here. All right, so this is Daniel's response to Fareed's powerful video. For anyone who is tuning in late, Fareed said that Daniel got caught with his pants down. Awful, awful, awful stuff. Got caught with his pants down, and Fareed told him how he should have responded using Fareed's powerful videos we went through. Weren't very impressed, but maybe Daniel's going to be impressed. And maybe he'll ponder the error of his ways and realize that he should do what Fareed does and just pick and choose, play the scholar game. All right, let's see what happens.
So going back to Fareed. This morning, I went and looked at these 3 videos. Like,
going back to Fareed.
What was the critical piece of information, the critical argument that Fareed presented on the Islamic dilemma that I missed? And I got caught with my pants down. What was it? So I go watch. And this one video is 5 minutes or almost 6 minutes. The other one's 16 minutes. In that 5-minute video, he talks about the hadith that is in Abu Dawood, I believe, where the Prophet.
You don't even know where it is?
He believes.
He should have checked before this video, but he was so in his feelings, he just pressed record.
It was narrated by Muhammad's nephew.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He didn't Google Ibn Abbas.
Oh, he hasn't responded to that yet. He hasn't responded to that yet about this mistake he made.
I think he knows because so many people have said it, but he's just too proud.
Even Fareed has been pointing. Even Fareed said that, and there are Muslims who are commenting like, "Wait, who said that?" And then
and then they found out it was Daniel.
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is with the Jews, and they bring out the Torah, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam places the Torah, or tells them to place on a cushion, the judgment cushion, as David would calls it. This is the hadith he often cites. And Fareed's big contribution is that, yes, Al-Albani considers this hadith to be Hasan. But another scholar, Arnaout, says that this hadith is weak. Therefore, you shouldn't be using this hadith. So David, debunked. Our whole Islamic dilemma is debunked.
It's weird how Daniel...
He gets it.
It's weird how Daniel has the basic level of common sense to understand this would not work well in a debate. Because, yeah,
he's
again...
100% right now.
He's absolutely... Yeah. Daniel Hakikachu is right on this. If he had said this, but David, there's a scholar who says this. Again, I would have went Al-Albani. I would have said Abu Dawud affirmed it. I would have said people like Ibn Kathir quote it. And I would have said, but if you're getting different results using your methodology, I guess Sheikh Yasser Qadi was right when he said your methodology cannot stand up to scholarly scrutiny or academic scrutiny. That would not have helped in any way. There's no one who watched the debate who would have been like, wow, great point, Daniel. No one. And yet it's what Fareed is saying Daniel should do. So I have to agree with Daniel on this one. Terrible response, Fareed.
Just got to appreciate his wide range of facial expressions. He's so animated, Daniel. Like, just watch his face. Like, he goes from, like, he just pulls all these expressions all at once. And it's like, oh, it's so funny.
And it's weird because some of them I'm like, cringe face you're making. But others I'm like, this guy's funny. I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. It's like Fareed. Fareed's annoying like a bunch of the time, but then he'll be funny and he'll like legitimately funny. I don't know. These guys are weird.
Really?
Like this is perfect.
Because one scholar weakens the hadith because of the one person in the chain. The argument is debunked, or that hadith is now debunked. Like, we can't refer to this hadith. Al-Albani says it's Hasan. So this is...
Thank you, Daniel, for giving part of the response I would have given if Fareed were to try that. Fareed, come on, man. Open invitation. We can debate this issue, and you can use your brilliant point about about the hadith in Abu Dawud.
The level of argumentation of someone like Fareed, and it's not just this one video. Like, this is his approach to many things. It's a deliberate focus on the trees to miss the forest. Like, the lowest tier kind of intellectually lazy argument that you can make is this kind of argument.
Wow.
He's right.
Oh, Daniel.
Gosh. Right on the money, man. Not used to saying that about Daniel Hakikachu, but I mean, just think about that. Hey, you guys don't want to believe something that's in the hadith that Muslim scholars have been treating as historically reliable for centuries. What do? Let's look for a scholar who says that someone in the chain of transmission was unreliable, and let's just say, therefore we can throw it out. Well, great. We can throw out your entire methodology just by quoting Sheikh Yasser Qadi, and we don't have to believe anything about your prophet. And we could go agree with Robert Spencer and Jay Smith that Muhammad maybe didn't even exist. Why, Fareed? We'd be doing the same thing you're doing. Anyway.
That there is one scholar somewhere that found this hadith weak, so therefore you can't use it. Sorry, man, this is not a good argument. This is not a good approach. And this is all that's I shouldn't say all that Fareed does, but a lot of what he does in his responses are to just weaken reports that are used to criticize Islam.
Weaken reports. So something is used to criticize Islam, and he's saying what a lot of what Fareed does is he'll just look for a way to dismiss the hadith, not realizing that every single time you dismiss a hadith, especially if it's one that's been treated as historically reliable for centuries, you're actually supporting Sheikh Yasser Qadhi's claim that this is a giant mess. What is this stuff? Hats off to you, Fareed. Keep going.
When there's a much easier explanation that you can give. Number one, there's another interpretation of that hadith that you can give that is not problematic at all. It doesn't have any problematic implications. Like, why are you conceding David Wood's reading of that hadith?
Oh, so that's actually an interesting point. He's saying that Fareed.
Why are you conceding? Why are you conceding what Allah and Muhammad say about this hadith?
Right.
About this issue?
Yeah, but he's suggesting that Fareed is doing this because he can't respond to your point. But like you said, you have the Quran that makes the same point. So how would Fareed get around those passages? I don't know.
The miracle of reinterpretation.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, the miracle.
I know why he conceded, because that's the only way to read it. There's no other way to read it and come to a different conclusion.
True.
Yeah. That's matter of fact, guys, someone could make a video about this as a dilemma. You either grant the clear meaning, in which case the Islamic dilemma follows and Islam self-destructs, or you have to do what Fareed does and look for a way to dismiss the hadith, in which case you're exposing the entire system and Islam's going to self-destruct again. So take your pick. Either way, Daniel's way or Fareed's way, Islam is self-destructing right in front of everyone's faces.
What's the alternate reading that doesn't make it problematic anymore?
Yeah, is he about to tell us?
You just read it and have your voice go higher and higher? Like, how do you read this that makes it not a problem?
Yeah, you just have to read it in a way that completely contradicts what it says and what the Quran says. Well, why not? Fareed, you giant idiot, when you read it, you don't have to dismiss it. All you have to do is say, when Muhammad says, I believe in you and in the one who revealed you, he means, I believe that this dumb book has been corrupted and we should never trust it. That's all you have to do. Just do it like that.
You got to properly read it with your fingers like this. That way it's the opposite of what you're saying. That's the proper reading.
Yes, the correct way to read this, Fareed, is to pretend that when Allah was revealing this and when Muhammad said this, that it was opposite day that day.
Oh.
That's the context. Right before Muhammad said this, he said, hey, guys, just so everyone is clear on this, today is opposite day. So whatever I say today, I mean the opposite. And all his followers would understand that, but others didn't.
Yeah, there's one word missing from the hadith. No. Psych. I believe in you, psych.
He's psych.
Question the reading of his interpretation of the hadith. Don't start like degrading the hadith or weakening it and saying just because one scholar did. Okay, well, David Wood can say, okay, I don't need to go to Arnaut. I can look at what Al-Albani says. Do you take Al-Albani as an authority? And,
Nailed it.
Okay,
Nailed
if
it.
you don't, as Fareed doesn't agree, I don't care about Fareed's opinion. I'll go with Al-Albani, the more senior scholar, or someone else, or Abu Dawood, who collected it.
He is right on the money.
Yep.
Those would have been my first two go-to response, Albani and Abu Dawood. It's just disturbing me because I was about to say, I guess great minds think alike, but then I was like, wait a minute, this guy's the world's leading defender of child marriage. So,
yeah, but it's like, how can he be so right and so wrong at the same time? Like that's what kind of like my mind is like that's
what's amazing. You guys were right. You nailed it right at the beginning. When they see someone else giving a response, they get it and say, this is terrible. But they just don't get it when they're giving a response that all the other guys would recognize is terrible. No matter which response anyone gives on the Islamic dilemma, there are other Muslims who will instantly recognize that response is terrible. That's why you have to go with this terrible response. Well, guys, if every single Muslim response to the Islamic dilemma is terrible, isn't that telling you something about the argument? Don't know.
Exactly.
Seems kind of obvious to us.
And put it in his collection. Or anyone else. So this is just intellectually lazy. And then the second video is also a similar thing. Like, oh, you're attributing something to Ibn Abbas, but it's really Bukhari, or vice versa. And that's a wrong interpretation. That's a
What's that?
So basically, so that is the in chapter 3 verse 87, where Ibn Kathir attributes this to Ibn Abbas, saying that none of Allah's words can be corrupted, and the only thing that people do by misinterpreting it is they go according to. By corrupting it means that they're going according to a misinterpretation or something, but the text itself is intact. So you have some scholars who read that and they think that Al-Bukhari said it, and some scholars who read it say Ibn Abbas said it. And so what Farid does is he just like says that that's what some scholars think. Like you have some scholars who say Al-Bukhari said that, and some say Ibn Abbas said that, and that's all he says.
And he thinks he just won then.
Yeah, he's like, so therefore we could just dismiss it or something. It's like
it's like, no, both Ibn Abbas and Al-Bukhari are both
like either one who said it's a problem for you.
Equally authoritative in Islam.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help. That's what Daniel Pikachu says here in his very few lucid moments. It's like the lucidity just comes and goes. It's just very, very strange to me. He recognizes that, so what if maybe one or the other said it? They're both authoritative.
Exactly.
You still have a problem in the end. Bukhari is mainly, Sunni Islam is mainly Bukhari after the Quran. And Ibn Abbas is Muhammad's cousin, not nephew, Daniel. So if either one of them said it, still bad.
Right. So yeah, that was basically Farid's entire video.
Yeah, it's 16 minutes.
All about that.
So 16 minutes to say, oh, here's more untrustworthy stuff, and we have no idea what to do, and so we could just throw it all out because it's garbage, thus supporting Sheikh Yasser Qadhi's recent claim about this not being able to stand up to academic scrutiny. Thank you, Farid, for... Like, every last one of them is destroying Islam, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Wrong attribution. You're wrongly attributing this statement. Debunked. You got debunked. This is not compelling to a Christian audience, and it's not compelling to a Muslim audience who knows like much about the Islamic sciences. It's not, and there's like such better criticisms or critiques that you can give.
Where? Name one. Name one. Go ahead, give me one.
He just keeps teasing like that. Like,
yeah,
he makes it seem like he's gonna like give something, but he never does.
I was like, "What is it? What is it?" And he never says it.
That is like the ultimate trust me, bro.
Yeah.
Trust me, bro. There are great responses to this. I don't know why you're using this pathetic. I didn't use any good responses in the debate. Your response is terrible, but there are other responses. It reminds me of back in the day when they would say Muhammad is the greatest moral example ever, and we'd say, well, what about Muhammad and Aisha? He had sex with a 9-year-old, and they say, no, you're making that up. And so we'd quote a bunch of passages, and then eventually they would say, but there are all these other passages that say the opposite and say she was much older. And we say, give us one. Oh, they're there. Well, just give us one. Oh, there's so many. Well, just give us one. Oh, that's what it's like here with we've got the responses. We'll give it to it. No, well, we'll eventually.
You can look at the big...
I just want to point out, for any Muslims who are watching, we know you're watching. If the Quran says what you've been told all your life, it says, namely the Bible's been corrupted, these debates should be the simplest things in the world. Chapter, verse. Here's where Allah says it. They never, ever do that. At some point, you should be catching on. Maybe the reason no one ever quotes the Quran verse where it says the Bible's been corrupted is because there is no such Quran verse, and you've been lied to your entire life. That's what you should be wondering right now, but you don't.
In his debate, too, I remember he was saying that it's a corrector as a main theme in the Quran, and I was thinking, when I'm reading the Quran, the word I see over and over is reminder. Have y'all noticed that? Have y'all been
reminder, just to remind you.
Just over and over. It's a reminder. It's like, well, actually, he could have written the word corrector there if he wanted to, but it's a reminder.
Mm-hmm. Lots of different words. Lots of different words Allah could be using in these passages. Always gives the one that means the exact opposite of what Muslims want to say.
Picture. Look at the bigger claims that you can make against the Islamic dilemma or against David Wood. So this wasn't the only...
What?
So I missed out on Fareed's brilliant takedown of the Islamic dilemma, and that's why I got caught with my pants down. If I had just told David in the debate, oh, did you know that this hadith is actually deemed weak? If I had said that in the debate, David would have just crumbled. He would have crumbled, and that would be the end. That would be the end of it.
It's funny. Everyone's watching. This is what he's saying. He's saying, Fareed, your objection would have been destroyed, and it would have been completely humiliating to bring this up in a debate. Why do you think it's good? He's entirely correct. For once, Daniel is entirely correct.
Debate, and all the Christians would say their shahada right there if I had just brought up Fareed's brilliant point. Instead, I got caught with my pants down. That's not the only thing that Fareed had to say. He also said this: minimum requirements. This is from yesterday. Minimum requirements to represent Islam in debates: be an honest individual, have good manners, do the research. Liars and ill-mannered people shouldn't represent Islam. If you're too lazy to research a topic thoroughly, don't represent Islam.
Hey, that's funny. I didn't see some of the other tweets, but that's funny. So that's
he's
saying that about Daniel.
Retweeted. Yeah, and this is all being retweeted by the other Dawah Gandists as well.
Look, you see the blocked up in the corner too. Oh, these guys are awesome, man. Yeah. Oh, hey, Islam's in safe hands with these guys.
So all of these Christians are taking Fareed's statements, by the way, these tweets, and they're spreading them. They're like, even the Muslims, even another Muslim apologist,
that's true,
says that Daniel failed. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't be representing Islam. So they're spreading. They're taking the words of Fareed.
Yep, we are.
And we are. Again, like Fareed, when have you debated? When has Fareed debated anyone?
Fair point. He's got me agreeing with him again. Fareed, how do you? It's one thing if you're like one of these guys who says, I don't pay attention to what these guys say. I'm not interested in what these guys say. I don't want to interact with these guys. You make video after video after video after video about us. So you're obviously interested. You're obviously watching all of our stuff, and you're claiming that there's a much better approach in a debate than what Daniel just said. How are you sitting here saying, hey, here's what a debater should be like, and here's what a debater should be doing, and here's the arguments that a debater should be using. And I'm sitting there telling you, I agree to debate you on the exact same topic, and you can show that you do a better job, and I will use the exact same opening statement so you can be prepared more than any person has ever been prepared for a debate in his entire life. Let's do it. And you won't touch it.
I used to work as a clerk at a family law firm in law school, and you would see like, yeah, who's the bad guy here? And it'd be like, well, there's stuff on both sides. It's like, Fareed, he is right. Like, Daniel could have better manners, but then also, like, my heart's always going to go out to the one who, he's going to the hostile environment. He's the one doing the debate.
Yep.
It reminds me of like the family reunions where you have like, you're trying to do something like move a heavy table, and then I'll have my aunt, well, why don't you try going over there on the other side and lift it? It's like, would you like to do this? Mm-hmm. Because I'm not enjoying moving this table. Yeah, so I can see both sides where it's like, yeah, it's probably not good to say that God raped Mary in front of a bunch of Christians when you're trying to convert them. But at the same time, like, at least he's going there and going out into the middle of Ohio or whatever. To a church.
So Fareed, let me correct your list. Minimum requirement to represent Islam in debates: not being a coward and being willing to debate. That's the bare requirement. You don't actually have to have good manners or do any research. None of that matters if you are not willing to debate. None of that matters. So the foundational bare bottom requirement, not bare bottom in the al-Zut sense of Muhammad, but like the bare minimum requirement to represent an Islam in debates is actually having the courage to debate. Daniel does have that. Daniel does have that. You don't. So you're the one who does not have the actual bare minimum requirement.
And if you don't want to debate, don't go out there trying to tell other people how to debate. right? So you could continue to do your channel however you want to, but it makes it look silly when you're going to go tell someone who's actually bothering to go all the way out to Ohio and get a plane ticket that they did it wrong. It's like, well, what are you doing? You
got these backseat debaters. Here's how you should do it. Here's how you should be doing it. Here's what you should be doing. Why don't you do it? No.
I have this caution in the back of my mind. What's that proverb about don't get between two fighting dogs or they'll bite your hand? It's in Proverbs. I'm going to look that up. That's what I feel like I'm doing right now.
All right. Only a few seconds here left of Daniel. In this.
Like in an actual moderated debate. Has he had a single moderated debate?
Not that I've seen. It's like Ali Dawah, right? Everyone, debate Ali Dawah. So when's this guy ever going to debate? Never. I mean,
he's a debater.
He'll do some like street debates and stuff like that, but like debate on stage when? Oh,
he doesn't even do street debates anymore. He just sells things. The guy sells things now for a living. It's like when you watch Avery go up to him, challenge him on the deepest, most crucial elements, even on Tawheed, on his own religion. I was like, guys, buy this prayer mat, only $5.99. Guys, we just need to raise $100 more, and it's like, that's what you're doing.
And you know where hundreds of thousands of those pounds went to?
Douglas Murray
into the British.
Oh yeah.
Like they're probably so mad at Muhammad Hijab for that. Like he cost them so many hours of like street hustling they call Dawah.
Yeah, how many plastic blue mats is that?
That's a lot of mats.
A lot of prayer mats.
I would randomly tune into his lives to try to figure out like what are his arguments he's making. And like I'm not trying to be humorous or joke or anything. Every time I get on there, he's trying to sell something. He's always trying to sell something. Yeah.
He's a used car. Well, I like to say he's a used car salesman. Like he dresses like one and he talks like one. He looks like the kind of guy that would sell you some dodgy car that will break down as soon as you try to leave the garage. There's just nothing in him that's credible or authoritative or knowledgeable. The guy just doesn't know things. He brings little toys to try to illustrate his understanding of the Trinity because he thinks this is a good way of doing it. It's absolutely terrible. I was watching Jai and DOC, your live stream. I can't remember when it was. The one you did a few days ago or thereabouts, and you showed Muhammad Hijab actually talking to his followers, explaining to them the process he was going through. He was like, yes, you see, I'm going to sue them in America, or I'm going to sue them in the UK because under defamation law. And he starts like talking all authoritative about it. And like at this point, it just come out that he had lost this lawsuit. And I'm thinking, wow, with like the benefit of hindsight, this sounds so stupid. This guy just being like, yes, I'm so clever. I know exactly how I'm going to do this lawsuit. And it's like, yeah, it's going to backfire horribly, bro.
And what was funny was he actually said that like, okay, I'm not going to, sue these Americans because it's much harder to get a win for defamation in America. But in the UK, I can do it. And it's like,
and he still got busted.
And I mean, for all you Dawah fans out there, this is a serious issue. He just spent piles of money that came from donations from you guys to sue Douglas Murray and The Spectator. What's the real reason? The real reason is this is a narcissist who is absolutely obsessed, like his religion is in this case, obsessed with controlling what other people say, like obsessed with not allowing any sort of criticism. And if you've got full-fledged Sharia, then you could just silence people by killing them or by forming a mob and murdering them like they do in Pakistan and so on. So that's how you do it there. If you're in the West, you have to try and figure out other ways to silence people. So you can, anytime someone says something, you call them an Islamophobe. That's one of the main ways, but that's what they do. You have hijab back in the day. Well, I'll go after their wives with threats of rape and torture and so on. Well, that's how I'll do it. That's how I'll silence these guys. That didn't work out very well. And now you have the lawsuits. I'm going to sue everyone who basically says anything about me and I'll silence them that way. So the guy's obsessed with controlling what people say and not allowing people to criticize him. Did not work, led to more criticism, led to more mockery of him. Now he looks like a big idiot. But he had to pay. He had to pay for all of this and probably had to pay all the guys he had lying for him. Probably had to pay all those guys lying for him. And, of course, most likely now has to pay for the spectators' legal fees and Douglas Murray's legal. Hey, ChristianGadlfy, you're in a different country, but would you expect that he's going to have to pay for all these guys' legal fees?
Oh, he did. No, they said that in the papers. He did.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. And
lots of Dawah bucks.
Not only that, but I'm sure he's going to drop the future case because he had 2 cases against Douglas Murray, defamation cases. So he just lost the first one. And then he's got one against Tommy Robinson.
Yep, Tommy Robinson said it. Yeah, guys, keep in mind, Hijab is suing Tommy Robinson for calling him a caveman. But I'm not literally a caveman, so I will sue you, and you will have to give me...
Prove it.
Oh, look, I have this document where someone said they're going to give me millions of pounds, but they stopped because Tommy Robinson called me a caveman. Oh, my goodness, now you have to pay me.
The hard part's going to be proving up damages with something like that, because he'd have to prove that it hurt him economically to have Tommy Robinson call him a caveman. But it's like literally a person in your position to be hated by an Islamophobe would just make you make more money at the job that you do. That
was actually pointed out in the legal proceedings. It was pointed out, wait a minute, you're complaining that these guys, by talking about you, have discredited you. You're the guy who, when people called you instigator-in-chief, started selling T-shirts calling you the instigator-in-chief. You seem to revel in this sort of thing and in using anything for attention. Why are you now claiming that it's hurting you? How are you doing this?
And I heard he was trying to prove up fake damages with the Douglas Murray case by having his friends make fake contracts and then canceling them. This is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's almost as stupid as making a fake AI YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's that dumb, though.
No one's that stupid.
What I like about the fake losses, right? The financial losses he supposedly had as a consequence of this libel, in his perspective, is that obviously it's all made up, right? He's doing it so he can try to claim that much money so he can win it in a lawsuit. But what he did without really thinking about it is he just admitted that given what he was supposedly working, like as a brand administrator, I think they called it, he low-key just admitted reasonable amounts of money that people within his industry, presumably just Dawah in general, will legitimately consider paying for him. Like as in, maybe not him specifically, but as a brand ambassador for Islam for a Dawah charity, you could reasonably expect, I think like one of them was like 30,000.
One was $3,500 a month, and the other was specifically a Ramadan thing offering him $30,000, 30,000 pounds to promote something, some charity or something like that for Ramadan.
No, I don't believe that's like...
There were three. There was an additional one that was also 1,500 pounds as well. That's the one.
Right,
remember the black seed? Remember the black seed one?
What's it called? Snake oil.
Yeah, the black seed snake oil that he was selling. He was supposedly getting 25% of commissions and 1,500 a month for advertising them.
Isn't that insanely high?
I'm about to convert to Islam, man. And give me some prayer rugs.
Yeah,
I mean, being in this dump. Look at this place.
No, I mean, like, all of this is like made up, trying to get as much money as he can. But he's also kind of saying this is a legitimate amount of money you could expect for doing this, which is okay. You want to say that, Muhammad Hijab? Sure, you tell people that.
Yeah, and for everyone who's watching, this is what the judge instantly saw through. So it's like they put out this complaint or whatever, and they think no one's going to investigate it, and everyone investigated it really quickly. So they think, hey, I put on here, this charity says they were going to pay me this and so on. And then, but the documents that are actually presented, it actually gets exposed in the investigation. Wait a minute, these are all your friends. Why are they talking like this? Why are they talking like there's this formal thing? Instead of saying, hey, Muhammad, hey, we're going to pay you $3,500 a month if you want to jump on board with this, blah, 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 blah. It's, dear Mr. Hijab, we are going to pay you $3,500 a month for this, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll be this request. And then there's the supposed after the Spectator article. paperwork. But the judge saw right through that too, because Chris, this is hilarious stuff. But the judge saw right through it, called these guys liars. But the paperwork that was presented, he's like, isn't it weird that they're speaking to him all formally and saying that this is specifically about this Spectator article, and then saying how much money he's lost with them because of this? That's what they're saying. So the documents, you don't see the documents. You see the judge describing how stupid the documents are. I wish we
could see the documents.
Yeah, but it's like, Mr. Mohammed Hijab, even though we were going to pay you £3,500 a month for working and being a brand ambassador for our charity, after this damaging article in the Spectator, we have to take back what we have said. And now you're going to be out $3,500 a month times this number of months. So you have lost this official amount of money. And it is solely because of Douglas Murray's article in the Spectator. So if you wanted to blame anyone at all in the world, it's nothing else. It's nothing else you've ever done or said that has bothered us even slightly. It is only this Spectator article by Douglas Murray. That's the level of what they were doing.
And it'd be like, and I hope this doesn't cause you too much financial harm.
Yeah. No, he actually the judge did cite some of the emails, and it says one of the things was it says that your supposed anti-Semitic stances in Leicester, caused us to take away our deal from. Oh man, it was really bad, and they're all blaming it. But what was really funny about that? Another thing that was really funny about that is that they weren't all on the same page as to what they were going to say to the judge. So one of the things that Mohammed Hijab said to the judge was, because the judge said, "Why are they all coming at the same time? Like this isn't within the same week. Why?" And then, so then he's like, "Well, they're all."
Hey, hang on, everyone. Just to be clear on what Jai's pointing out here. This is in the judge's response. He's like, why do all of these guys saying the exact same thing, all these guys who know Mohammed Hijab and are friends with him and appear in a bunch of videos with him and things like that, they're all saying the same exact thing, using this formal language, explaining exactly how much money he's losing, and saying over and over again that it's specifically about the Spectator article. And then he gets them all at the same time. All these guys respond at the same time. So go ahead.
Yeah, and one of them was just a day apart. Like one of them was on November 24th. One of them was on November 23rd, 2022. And so when the judge gets one of them on the so then Mohammed Hijab says, well, they know each other, so they must have gotten together as like a group and collectively agreed, because he's like, it can't be a coincidence. Like they must have done it all at the same time. They must have come to an agreement. So then that was the judge's understanding. He's like, okay, so they all came together. They all came to an agreement. Hey guys, you guys saw the article? Yeah, I saw the article. Okay, we're all going to cut ties with them around the same time. Okay. So they get the guy on the stand, one of the guys.
Wait, hey, which one was this? This was the guy who had already been in prison for fraud.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't get in touch with anybody.
He was like, I didn't talk to anyone. I did it by my own self. And he thought that he was doing Mohammed Hijab a favor.
He completely just contradicted him, and just like the judge knew right away they were all lying.
Yeah.
Wait. To be fair to Mohammed Hijab, though, this guy has experience with this sort of thing. So
that's true.
Want to bring it?
He's like some insurance fraud scammer or something like that.
Yeah, so he's one of those guys. Yeah, he's one of those guys who would like drive his car and then jump over near a lane, slam the brakes and stuff like this. So he's
and then reverse.
Sort of thing. Yeah. So he's one of those kinds of guys.
When the judge, it said he got like irritated when the judge brought that up because he didn't see the relevance of it.
How is it relevant now? I'm dishonest, and I spent 27 months in prison for that dishonesty. It's nothing to do with this.
So these are pretty funny times, everyone.
But guys, you know the funny thing, a certain female YouTuber wanted to sue us for in the UK for calling her a half brain. So how is she gonna do that?
She needs Mohammed Hijab's lawyer.
She called me half brain, Your Honor. Give her life.
Good stuff. All right, there's only 20 seconds left of Daniel's clip here. Let's go ahead and play it.
I don't think so. the kinds of videos that he makes, I just described to you one. Go and watch these two and see if I misrepresented. Like, see if he's debunking anything. Okay, so Wahhabis and Christians, they're on the same page on a lot of things, actually. So going back to Fareed.
What's that to do with anything?
Hold on. Wahhabis and Christians agree. Wahhabis and Christians agree I'm the biggest liar.
He forgot to add the Jews there. I think he meant to add that.
And the Jews. Hey, Daniel Hakikachu is uniting the world in believing that he is the world's biggest liar.
That's not a good thing, Daniel. If people agree, you're a liar, man.
100% of people who have ever encountered me agree I'm the world's biggest liar. Isn't it weird? Everyone must be wrong at the same time. What's funny?
Let me put it on a slide.
It's just funny that he's saying, "Hey, wait a minute! All these Christians say I'm a liar, but Fareed and Jake, they say I'm a liar too. Look, you're supporting the kuffar." Dude, you're maybe it's because you're a liar, and we all just recognize it. Anyway, yeah, I think that's enough Dawah videos for today. Take these.
That's a lot of Dawah drama.
It is
Dawah wars. We could probably do video. We could probably do live streams every day about the Dawah wars.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, I was trying to think who took the biggest L this week. Was it Daniel with losing the debate, or was it Mimi Hijab for losing the court case?
Oh,
that'd be a
still
perfect
don't
video.
know.
That'd be a perfect video or live stream or something like that. Who took the biggest L? Could even debate that. Could even debate that.
Wow.
I say Daniel took the biggest L. Here's why. And no, I say Hijab took the biggest L. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, you have like a judge agreeing. I mean, well, think about it. They're both being called liars, right? The judge called Muhammad Hijab a liar. Everyone else calling Daniel a liar. So
Chris, you know, if a judge calls you a liar and you got another case somewhere else, can that be used for his
that's
intention?
Christian.
Sorry,
I
Christian.
was wondering about that. So it depends what the UK rules for evidence would be. So there might even be a situation where character evidence would be excluded, but you could bring it in if you were impeaching them, claiming that he's honest or something.
Oh yeah. So hang on. So this like on Law and Order, where the judge says you can't bring something in, but their lawyer will accidentally open the door, and the judge will go, "You open the door." So it would be something like the judge would say, "Okay, you're not going to bring in stuff from previous lawsuits and stuff like this." But then someone's asking, and Muhammad Hijab, would you consider yourself a credible, truthful person? He would say, yes, of course. Who could ever question my honesty? And then you go, oh, well, since you brought up that no one would question your honesty, let's find this judge who called you a liar like 487 times.
So yeah, it depends. There's like civil law and criminal law, and then there'd be UK law, right? And UK has like different provinces within it. So you have to figure out what law you're dealing with and what the rules of evidence are. But probably a creative lawyer would find a way to get it in.
Oh.
You know what? This ties into the Islamic dilemma, this whole concept here in Muhammad Hijab's court, because it comes down to, confirmation and, verifying things. And, we found out Muhammad Hijab, when he says he confirms something, well, he's Muhammad Hijab, we know that he's not really trustworthy. So a judge isn't going to really take him seriously. But if a Muslim, they take the Quran very seriously. And so the Quran is bearing witness, and that's confirming that the Bible is, so kind of all ties together.
It sure does. Fluffy says, I watched your and AP's review of the Bitter Truth show from 2 years ago, and 17 minutes in, you called it, saying they may be Mutta candidates. Oh, yeah, that would be pretty obvious if they're talking about it. It's the same thing as when Muhammad Hijab at the beginning of the year said, Elon Musk sent a representative to say he's going to frame me for a scandal. Scandal coming, scandal coming, scandal coming.
And then Muhammad Hijab says, how did David know?
Yeah, he must have links to Elon Musk.
Yeah. No, it's serious. I've pointed this out, and I'll probably post a video about it, about why hijab is in this situation right now. It's because you're a manipulator. Muhammad Hijab's a manipulator, and he builds his life around deception and manipulation. But your fans are the ones who program you. They wire you to know what you can get away with. So if every time you tell some idiotic lie, Elon Musk is sending me a representative to say that he's going to frame me for a scandal. Any idiot on the planet can look at that and go, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You are so cooked. But if your fans are going, oh no, poor Mohammed Hijab, he's being persecuted by Elon Musk, and they're the ones you're listening to, that convinces you over time that you can say any idiotic thing and people will believe you. And then what happens? You get programmed to think you can get away with any lie you tell and that people are going to believe any lie you tell as long as you're thumping in your chest. And what do? Then you go into court and you act the same way. And no one believes you. No one. Because they're not your stupid idiot followers. And so that's the situation he's in right now. It's the situation Andrew Tate is in. It's their followers convince them that they can get away with these lies, and you step into court and think you get away with the same thing, and you're dealing with significantly more intelligent people with a much reduced family history of inbreeding, and they're not going to fall for the same thing. So that's the reality. Well. The alternative to reading is for reading. Islamic science sounds like an oxymoron, like military intelligence. Keep strong in Christ, brothers and sisters. Thank you. Let's see. What do you mean, D. Wood? You're a master debater. Yes. So now, who is the King Kong Dawah? Seems like a massive vacuum at the moment. Yeah, I've said that. We need a video saying who's going to be the next great da'i, and the job requirements are narcissist and someone who's going to help us expose Islam from within. So if you meet those requirements, send us an application. Why's Till We Have Faces your favorite book? Because it's a really, really good book, well written, awesome story. Matter of fact, I'll tell you. Reading has always been like a duty. Like, I don't enjoy reading. I don't have fun reading. I read because I need information, which means I don't read a lot of fiction because there's not always a point to it and so on. Till We Have Faces was actually a good book to read. So I set the bar. I set the bar there. If it's fiction, did I actually like reading it? It's one of the few fiction books I actually liked reading and was making an awesome point. Really well done. How no one has made that a movie. That movie would, it would only be one because it's not like Lord of the Rings as far as like multiple books and so on. But you could make that like Lord of the Rings level movie, and no one's making it. So anyway, long story short, people are stupid. Did you ever meet anyone who got caught, landed in prison, and has a foolproof plan to do it right next time? That's everyone. That's what prison does to you. That's what prison did to me. It's, here's what I got caught. So therefore, next time I will do things differently and not get caught. Matter of fact, I even had there were people in prison who were coming up to me going, David, you're smart. And we're not. If you plan it, we'll do it. So I could have walked out of there with like a crime gang of guys who understood. They got caught because they were just, doing the robbery in a dumb fashion and they didn't anticipate this and so on. Which is weird because I was in prison too, but somehow they picked up on they need someone planning their stuff for them. But yeah, you have people who go to prison and then they meet other people in prison and then they come out and they're better equipped to be criminals. Confirm as how Christians would have understood that word to mean in 7th century since the surah was recited to them, not modern Muslims' redefinition. Oh yeah, that is an actual important point. So if this is it's usually talking to Jews, the ones in Surah 2 and so on. But if you're a Jew in 7th century Arabia and Muhammad is reciting his new revelation saying, why are you rejecting this book when it confirms your book? It confirms your book. Why are you rejecting it? How would you understand confirm? And if Allah doesn't mean what you would understand by that word, then he's not being clear, right?
That's actually a really good point, Tad M123. And I think we need to dwell on, I'm going to use that as a hermeneutic when I'm reading my Quran now. I'm going to be like, yeah, we need to keep in mind that he's speaking to the people of the book right now. That is a really good point, and I'm screenshotting that.
I already screenshotted it for future debates. So Fareed, take note when we debate. Just kidding. We know you're not going to debate. A liar knows best. That's a good one. A liar knows best. Did Muhammad take the biggest L? Al. The Al-Zut. Yeah. Who took the biggest L? Hijab, Daniel Kikachu, or Muhammad? Let's be serious. No one took it. No one took it better than. What's wrong with these guys, man? Didn't Muhammad? Oh boy. Let's see. Super random. What do you do when you stop caring about your own sins? No conviction or guilt.
Pray that you could start feeling something.
Yeah.
Where I would start.
Just start doing things by principle.
That's what I was thinking. Because just to be clear, you're talking about guilt. I have never once felt guilt in my entire life for anything I've ever done. So that is not what is influencing my actions. You don't need any sort of feelings or anything like this. I mean, it's good if you do. That I've learned over time when I used to have contempt. Nope, there is an important role for those. It is good to have those kinds of feelings. Those help a lot. But if you happen to not, then you can go about it in other ways, like right now. The fact that you are raising this as an issue and asking for advice means you understand that it's actually defective. You're actually defective for not feeling guilt about the things you've done. Well, guess what? You can start dwelling on that. Okay, anytime I do something wrong and I don't feel bad, okay, I don't have the bad feeling, but you can start focusing on the fact that you're defective for not having the feeling, and you can actually transform that into a sort of second order guilt. Like I don't have what normal people feel or mean by guilt, but I have a kind of second order guilt where I understand that I'm defective for not feeling in a certain way. You can focus on that. But yes, it should be, here's what I am required to do. And if I'm not doing that, then that's a problem. I need to take action to do what I'm required to do in life. Anyone else have any advice on that?
It's pretty
That's
solid.
great.
Let's see. This super chat. Oh, no comment though. Thank you though. Let's see. David, when you visited Jerusalem, how did the Muslims react to IDF presence or Jews in general? They seem to get along really well. And keep in mind, I understand you can always show a video clip of something, something jumping off or so on. When we were there, we were in the Christian quarter that is that is closest to the Muslim quarter. You walk around the old city of Jerusalem, you see Orthodox Jews in full gear. You see Muslims walking around, Muslim kids playing. You see Christians all over the place. Even though they occasionally have a problem, the general takeaway is you are shocked. How does this work here? How is this actually a thing where all these people so close, who are so close? I mean, you're talking a mile away from horrible violence and so on, and yet they make it work there.
I went in 2018 and it felt really peaceful when I went. And there's a weirdly large number of cats everywhere. At least there was then, and they all looked healthy. Like, okay, I don't know what
you notice the cats too. I noticed. Here's what was interesting. I was like, cats are all over the place, man. And I'm not even I'm not a big fan of cats, but everywhere there's cats, and sitting there. What is all these nasty cats? And I eventually thought they're basically on the level of rats, like in New York. And I was like, oh, I don't see any mice or rats around here. Zero. So what would you actually rather have? Would you rather have wild cats everywhere or rats like in New York?
They were friendly. They'd all let you pet them, But.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. No, why in New York? Why don't you just let tons and tons of cats loose into the city? They kill all the rats, and then you've got cats everywhere, which is kind of disgusting too. But it's better than rats. Cats are better than. I don't like cats, but they're better than rats. All right. Make up some lies, increase money. Oh, that's yeah. Make up some lies, increase money. That is the Dawah principle. It's the Dawah path of success. What is this? Just said, I am Jesus Christ. Dude, I'll block you for that crap. Where's that at? That's the sort of thing you get blocked for here, sport. Goodbye. Let's see, a couple more. You're telling me Mimi got zooted by a gay man in court? That would be one way to describe it, but yeah, it was not pretty. Hi, David. Long-time watcher. Love your work. Just wanted to point out that the World War II analogy from your debate with Daniel is not great. To point out the unavoidable losses in war. Yes, it is. What the heck are you talking about? Let me find out the rest. See these other responses. Civilian casualties incurred were not only due to bombings in cities such as Dresden and Hiroshima. It was largely due to tens of millions of Soviets lost to Germans and Chinese lost to... Yeah, I didn't say that was 100% exactly the same. I said bad things happen in war. There are a bunch of factors, and 2/3... Keep in mind, that's back when you had armies marching out against each other in fields and tanks rolling across fields, and still 2/3 of casualties are civilian casualties. What's that mean? It means that it's something that happens in war. That means that it's something that happens in war. And if you're going to point to Israel's the only place, oh my goodness, how are civilians dying? You need to understand anything about the history of war. So I don't know what you're talking about here. Let's see. Civilian casualties incurred were not only due to bombing. Oh, yes, because I said it's only due to bombings. No, I said that's what happens if you're dropping bombs on people. Am I wrong? That if you're dropping bombs on people, you're going to hit some civilians too? Am I wrong about that? Because that's the point I was making. Seems completely valid. Largely due to tens of millions of Soviets lost to Germans, Chinese lost to Japanese. Yeah, nothing weird there. What's your point? These were deliberate slaughters, direct outflows of these forces, dehumanizing and expansionist ideologies. Not a good analogy for Israel and Gaza. Yeah, I have to disagree. Yeah. What's the big takeaway? Pick a war. Pick a war. Tons and tons and tons of civilian casualties happen in war. That's a reality. So if you want to criticize something specific, criticize something specific. If you want to criticize a line being crossed or something like that, do that. Don't just say, "Oh, but lots of civilians died." That's a terrible argument. Find another basis for criticism. I'm this guy again. I'm the god of the... What is this idiot here? Glad I blocked him. What a dope. Did you read The Structure of Magic? Great tool. I recommend reading to everyone, and especially you, David. The Structure of Magic. Why would I read that?
Sounds like some woo-woo stuff.
Yeah, what is that? Yes, I'm going to go read The Structure of Magic. You said great tool. I will look it up and hope that it's not some dorky Mike Winger nonsense. What would it even mean to confirm a book if you do not have the book in your present time? That is an ongoing question. That's part of the issue. Again, if you just go back 10 or 15 years, what your average Muslim thought, if you said the Quran confirms the Bible, it's yes, only the originals. Only you can still see that if you look it up. But that response is meant for stupid people. It's only confirming the originals, which you don't have. Why does he say repeatedly that it's talking about what we have and that he's confirming what we have? Here we have UK lawyer. So you've been replaced, Christian Gadfly, by someone more knowledgeable. UK lawyer here. Hijab has opened the door for bad character evidence. Because he lost the case, future libel cases would be marred by this. That is interesting.
Oh, wow.
Good to know. Which is how it should be. I mean, if you've been exposed as a liar, a complete liar, that should affect your credibility. If you've got evidence for something, you could prove something, that's one thing. If it's just your word, oh, this really made me feel bad and it hurt my feelings and so I need damages. Okay. We don't trust anything you say because you're a liar. That should be relevant.
So that means if he's still going through with like the Tommy Robinson case,
he's gonna lose.
Tommy Robinson's lawyers are going to be like using that as a point against him.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, because he just created precedents now for himself.
Yep. And last one here. What do critical scholars think about satanic verses? They think it's as good as gold. Well, you have tons of sources. They're clearly trying to water down the story over time. And principle, this is one of the clearest cases where the principle of embarrassment would apply. They were clearly embarrassed by this story massively.
Doesn't the Quran even try to play defense for this, where it says all true prophets have a time where Satan tells them what to say, and so if you throw out the satanic verses, then the Quran's lying about Muhammad.
Yeah, Surah 22, verse 52. Allah's defense for his explanation of Muhammad for why Muhammad shouldn't feel so bad is, don't worry, all of Allah's prophets fall for Satan's verses from time to time and let their feelings influence the revelations that they get. So, yeah, critical scholars would say, okay, basically, is there a reason Muslims would make this up? No. And if they did, would all these guys be making up this story? No. So it makes no sense to say Muslims made up a story that was horribly embarrassing to them and that they all shared this. And then the alternative would be, did non-Muslims make it up? If so, why would Muslims start passing on the story? Why would Muslims believe them if this wasn't actually a thing? So, yeah, this is about as good as it gets. And I'll say, if you are going to reject the satanic verses, don't tell me to believe anything about Muhammad. Because if I have 50 sources on a story, and it goes back to there are like 10 of them that go back to Ibn Abbas and so on. If that's not reliable, and you're saying, nope, none of these guys can be trusted. Okay, it's like all your first century guys, all the first century guys that we trace the story back to were reporting this story. If that's unreliable, then great. All your first century guys are a big bunch of liars. Why would we trust stuff that comes later? Right? It all went through the hands of these guys. If they're liars, don't tell us to believe anything.
Muslims, you should get in the habit of switching places and seeing what it's like. So imagine if our earliest sources of Jesus, like the Gospel of Mark, had Jesus saying things that Satan told him to say, not knowing that Satan was speaking through him. What would you do with that information? What would that make you think about Christianity? Apply it to your own religion now.
Mm-hmm. And finally here, the eyes are the leather straps of the anus, so one who sleeps with the al-zut should perform ablution with diya al-kalbi. This is a powerful combination of all these various passages that I will take into account. All right, guys, I think we've covered enough of the Dawah wars. But anyone wants to see the ongoing, unfolding Dawah wars, just go and check out Daniel and Fareed and Jake and all these other guys and what they're sharing as they attack each other, for all giving terrible responses to the Islamic dilemma. Just think about this. We're saying, hey, we've got an airtight argument here. Allah affirms our book. Muhammad affirms our book. It's very clear. They're affirming our book. What say you? And they're all attacking each other. You've got the dumbest response. No, you've got the dumbest response. But your response is dumber than mine. No, your response is the dumbest. What is this religion? All right, guys. Any final thoughts on any of this? ChristianGadlfy. What's your takeaway here?
Yeah, Daniel be nicer, Fareed, think about it helping instead of just criticizing it. Why am I helping the Ummah here? Keep doing what you're doing, guys. Ignore don't even watch this stream. Just keep doing what you're doing.
You guys are crushing it. You guys are crushing it. Chris, what do you think, man?
Oh, I think it's a great day. I love this stuff. I'm very, very happy, very entertained. Daniel is very animated when he talks about things, and the fact that he is upset with other Muslims who have a totally different opinion about whether or not he won or lost that debate is brilliant. It shows that they can't even have a consensus. There's no ijma with the Muslim ulama when it comes to the Islamic dilemma. They have no idea, ladies and gentlemen. They have no idea whatsoever. There's no coherent response. And as Christians, and I hope others as well, because the Islamic dilemma is not a Christian argument, we just happen to be the very awesome people who are pushing this forward. But I hope others can also learn the Islamic dilemma and start making Daniel the Kikachu cry a little bit more. That's my hope.
And you were just saying, hey, it's they have no idea. They have no idea. When you were saying that, I was thinking they have no idea what's coming, because I mentioned it the other day. This only gets worse, guys. And that debate, I walked in there and I gave basically my case from years ago, just because I don't think you guys can answer the case that you've been hearing from me for years, right? There's way more stuff. Now, in that are some of the most important, most powerful verses and stuff like that. There's way more, way more. And it's still not a ton of us arguing this, but this is about to be put into the hands of everyone. in a way more powerful form, and you guys can't answer the most basic case that I've been using for years. You got problems. You got serious problem. All right, John, DOC.
I'm just looking forward to Farid coming and debating. Let's go.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. I just love that this all points Muslims to look at the Bible and they see the implications. Like, what if these guys are right? And like I just wonder, like Christian was talking about earlier. Like, I mean, imagine if we had this like kind of reverse situation. Like, just the Muslims just thinking like the odd chance that all these Dawah guys are lying to us and the Christians are actually right here. Well, we're in a big dilemma. We really are, and we hope that you guys really think about that. And really think about the situation you're in, examine the arguments that we give you, look into them, and you're going to see that we're not the ones lying to you. And that's why you have all the Dawah guys arguing about how do I give the best response, what's the best response. They can't even agree on what the best response is to this because they can recognize flaws when it's other people saying it, but when they're saying it, they're just, seems to be blinded or something. But it's going to point you to Jesus. Repent and believe in him, and he will give you eternal life. And that's what our hope and prayer is for you.
And you're right that this is another example of they've been told all their lives one thing, and we come along and say, no, it's actually the opposite of what you've been told. And at first they're going to listen to their Dawah guys, and it takes a while. If you're told something for 30 years of your life, and some Christians come along and say, no, that's actually wrong. And then the heroes, the people that you listen to all your life, they go, no, the Christians are lying. They're making this up. This is stupid. What a dumb argument. You'd be inclined to listen to those guys for a while. But we keep pushing it. And you should be noticing by now that this keeps happening on every issue. Go back 20 years. We were saying, hey, you're saying Muhammad is this perfect moral example. Why do you have sex with a 9-year-old girl? How do you explain that? What happened back then? I'll tell you because I was there. They called us liars. We're lying. We're making this stuff up. Who was telling the truth? We were. Then you had, the Quran's been perfectly preserved right down to the letter. We said, no, it's not. Why don't you check your sources on the disaster of trying to preserve the Quran by memory early on and what this led to? Why don't you look at manuscripts? Why don't you look at different Qira'at, different Qurans in the world today? Why don't you look at any of this stuff? What happened? They called us liars. Who was telling the truth? We were. Scientific miracles. We said, nope, this is the Quran's actually a scientific disaster. All these miracle claims are bogus. What happens? They called us liars. Now, even they admit we were right. And now you've got the latest edition of it. We're saying the Quran does not say that the Bible's been corrupt. Quite the contrary. The Quran affirms the inspiration, preservation, authority of the Jewish and Christian scriptures. What are they doing? They're calling us liars. They're saying we're making it up. They're saying they've got great responses to this stuff. How many times does the exact same thing need to happen before you'll realize that your guys, the guys who you look up to, the guys who tell you what to believe about your religion, are the biggest bunch of liars the world has ever seen? And you see it when they walk into court. You see what happens when they walk into court. Guess what? The skills that Muhammad Hijab was using in court that got him exposed as a complete liar, he's using the exact same skills he has as a Dawah clown. What does it how many times do if I catch a person clearly lying once, my trust in that person he could always win back trust later on, but I'm just not going to blindly trust anything that person says. All your Dawah guys do is lie over and over and over again. At what point do you say, I can't trust these guys to tell me about religion? I have to investigate for myself. At what point? It's weird stuff. But again, the sort of biggest takeaway from all this stuff right now that's going on right now, for me, it was just, my goodness. How do we get this to take off? There are so many pieces to, if you're talking about a short amount of time, how do you take an argument from not known by very few people and get it to become the talk of the town? How do you do it? Well, just want to thank all you Muslims for helping us in so many powerful ways. Help us more. Talking to you, Farid. Talking to you, Paul Williams. Let's debate. Let's debate this stuff. Fun times. And guys, doesn't have to be a formal debate. You guys want to. Farid, you can even bring Paul Williams with you. Guys, are we willing? Are we, Giant DOC, Chris? Are we willing to have a friendly discussion live with this and go through passage by passage, verse by verse?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So you Muslims who are watching, if you think they can actually answer it, I mean, how powerful would that be? They join us live for a discussion and just completely crush and humiliate us and finally show us the Quran verses that say our book's been corrupted, blowing our minds. Wouldn't that be powerful? Wouldn't that be the decisive refutation of this argument? Why don't they do it? Try and figure that out. And then when you can't figure out any good explanation, maybe you fall back to deep down they know they can't answer it because it's airtight as it is. All right, guys. Everyone here has channels. Giant DOC. You got Giant DOC Reloaded. You got Christian Speaker's Corner. You got Christian Gadfly. Check out all those channels. Cool stuff coming out. And again, just getting started here. Catch y'all next time.